For nearly a decade, the streets of Miami have been quiet. This gateway city was left only ghosts. Echoes of a bygone time in sports car racing. But today, those ghosts reawaken. Speed Channel proudly welcomes you to coverage of the Cadillac American Le Mans Challenge. Again, Miami, Florida, playing host to the world's premier sports car racers and the penultimate round of the 2002 American Le Mans Series. On a day that dawned overcast and with some rain showers in the area, now the sun is out. It's quite warm and humid and a great day for road racing. Hello again, everyone. I'm Rick Benjamin, joined by former Miami Grand Prix champion Bill Adam. Glad to be with you from a most beautiful venue. And Bill, this is truly a special weekend.
It has always been a special place to me. In 1983, the very first Grand Prix, I fell in love with this city. Just tremendous place. Palm trees, water, hot boats, and yeah, the bikinis. And this is like Monte Carlo, North America.
And the racetrack's a little different this time around. It's not quite in the same place it was back then. The track surface has been an issue this weekend. The extreme heat, the new pavement, there's been a lot of work done. Bill takes a look now at what they've done here.
Packing 16 turns into only 1.4 miles is not the only problem, because down there was a major source of complaints. Now, originally when this pavement was put down, because of some rain and really difficult weather conditions, the pavement didn't cure. Very slippery. But last night, overnight, they came in, dug up the pavement, laid down some new stuff, some concrete patches to try and help. The drivers, they have different feelings.
I don't think it's a problem of that the surface is going to pull up, but I've never driven on anything so slippery or really dangerous.
The actual work they did last night, it's better to drive on. There's a bit more grip than there was yesterday, because yesterday the grip was absolutely zero. And it's just really now seeing if it actually will go through the race and stay together.
You want to finish, and I think if you finish, you're going to finish well, because of the nature of the circuit, the fact that we've got a lot of slower cars that we've got to get past as well. So I think it's going to be a pretty entertaining race, to be honest. I'm looking forward to it.
There should be a lot of action here. 36 cars ready to take the green flag. In just moments at the top of the screen, you'll see our speed strip with the full qualifying rundown. One of the tightest point battles in American Le Mans competition in the 900 prototypes, the fastest race cars of all. Tom Christensen, his teammate Dindo Capello just 2 points apart. And Calvin Fisher, was a matter really of what happened here in qualifying.
Well, qualifying was crucial for Dindo Capello here yesterday, Rick. He needed that bonus point for the pole position to halve the gap to his teammate Tom Christensen. How focused was he? Well, he just got pipped at the ball by 100th of a second. He still thought he had another lap in him, and he went for it. He hit the fence. The big concern then was on his cool-down lap, effectively, did he damage the Michelin tires? The Michelin tires were good, the rims were not. They had to change the rims on the Audi. He assumes his position at the front of the field. There's another tire story out there today. For more on that, let's go down to Jan Beekes.
Well, Calvin, in GTS, early in the season, GTS was all about Corvette, but now they have serious competition. First of all, Terry Borchler, for the second time, has grabbed the pole position in the Saleen. And don't forget about the Ferraris. First of all, the Pro Drive Ferrari was dominant at Laguna Seca and the Zero Olive Garden machine. Now, unlike the Audi, they did have to change tires. They've been fast all weekend, but today they have to start from the back of the pack.
But as we check the points in the GTS category, it's really a matter of the Corvette pilots. The 4 Corvette drivers at the top of the charts, fellows with a comfortable lead at this point. Pilgrim and Collins are tied for second. Let's take a look at our class descriptions, and we'll show you the quick qualifiers in each of the 4 categories that make up the American Le Mans Series. The 900 prototypes build the fastest cars of all.
They are the big exotics. They can't weigh any less than 1,984 pounds and have a ton of horsepower with either a big cubic inch motor or a 4-liter twin turbo. Right behind them, the ALMS 675, they weigh a little bit less and also have slightly smaller motors. But power to weight, they are virtually as fast as the big brothers. Now to turn to the production-based class, the cars that you wish you had won on the street, GTS is the big block version of this. The Saleen, the Corvette, of course the 550 Maranello Ferraris, and right behind, a class really that is dominated by the Porsches, but also is occupied by the BMW M3s. They could be giant killers, particularly on a trite circuit like Miami.
And one of the Alex Joe Porsches, the 23, the familiar pair of Lucas Luhr and Sasha Masson. They are the quick qualifiers here today in the GT category, and there are a lot of GT cars. Bill, this last corner coming onto the front straightaway, very, very tight for these drivers.
This whole track is tight. Now, I think we're going to see action right off the green here.
Underway, it's the Audis leading down into turn number 1. Frank Vila starting car number 1. Dino Capello alongside in the 2 car. Look at the traffic jam through the first couple of corners.
It is so tight, and David Bradham expressed it perfectly. I think if you do finish, you are going to finish well, but it's going to be a huge chore. It's kind of like inviting the Oakland Raiders over to your house for lunch, and they all come into the kitchen. You know there's going to be contact. You just try and make it as minimal as possible.
Now this is the section of the track, turns 4, 5, 6, and 7, where the repair work was done overnight, as we showed you a few moments ago. We've got a lot of different onboard looks for you today. We'll take a ride. This is, of course, the Cadillac American Le Mans Challenge here in Miami. And one of the 2 Cadillacs has one of our onboard cameras here for us this weekend as well. Through the fountain area on the backside, let's take a ride.
Look at the amount of wheel action right there. You can see he is turning his neutral so far over. They have all had a problem with tires coming up to temperature here because the cars are sliding on this surface of very low ground. They're not generating nearly the temperature that they like. Now you're faced with this racing down the tunnel trying to set up how do you pass. It is so difficult.
Max Angelilli and J.J. Leto will share this car, the 8 car coming up in lap number 1. They could qualify no better than 17. The qualifying was quite a story here, as we showed you with the track surface problems and the weather that we've had. There wasn't much track time, and several of these drivers never really had a clear lap.
No, not at all. It's interesting there just watching the Cadillac. He actually dove down the inside of the lead, making a little bit of a risky move. You have to do it. And this is one of the difficult parts of this particular circuit is it is going to require a lot of risky moves because you can't allow the leaders to jump and run away from you. You've got to stick that car into places where normally you wouldn't want them anywhere near.
Johnny Herbert runs third behind the 2 Team Yost Audis, the 2 silver cars. Herbert in the champion ADT car, that's the white 38. That's the fountain on lap number 2. Vila is your leader. Capello in the 2 car. Running 4th right now. Mark Goossens out of Belgium. Now, this is the Jim Matthews, Riley and Scott Mark 8. This is the new version of the Riley and Scott car. They ran the car last at Le Mans. Tony Ave will join Goossens today. The 2 Panos cars next in line. Bill Auberlen in the 51 is up in 5th.
This really is a track that doesn't actually benefit tremendous downforce. I think if you could take a top fuel dragster and make it turn and stop, you'd probably have a car that could win here because you really want ultra strong acceleration off the corners. Your actual cornering speed is going to be very low no matter what you're in, whether an LMP 900 or even a GT Porsche. The cornering speeds are very, very close on this slippery surface. But the ability to launch the cars hard off corners with good acceleration really comes into play, and I think that's part of the reason why that Riley and Scott has been so competitive all weekend long.
There's the leader in the 6-7. Oh, and one of the Panoses has spun. It's the 51 car with Auberlen on board. The Californian's gone around. This is that very tricky part of the racetrack where they did the repair work. You can see the concrete patching.
Well, good thing Bill didn't hit the wall. Right now, I think he's just simply trying to refire it. He has to get the car back into neutral. Not an easy job with those paddle shifters. You have to cycle back through until you find neutral. But the field should be just about through here. That's a relatively safe spin as long as he can get started.
One of the biggest starting grids of the season in American Le Mans competition. 36 cars taking the green. Another look as we see Hurt could go by. And Auberlen just overcooked it coming off that corner. Looks like the rear end just got away from him.
Yeah,
There's another
no, he got
Got
nudged.
tapped. Yeah,
his own teammate tapped him.
Jan Magnussen driving the other Panos, the 50. A couple of wins for that team this season. He bumped into Auberlen, spun him, and Bill still isn't turned the right way.
Well, there he's going now, but how do you turn that car around? He's just going to have to dump the clutch at high revs, I think, and spin it.
There's Goossens going by again.
That's not the sight you want to have, a whole bunch of race cars heading directly towards you.
So Auberlen has lost a lap here, and one of the Vipers has spun. The 44 car.
Look at the front end of the car right there. He has hit the wall.
This is near the fountain, I believe.
Yes, that's exactly where it is.
Jeff Altenberg, and he's got a broken rim as well as front body damage. One of the Vipers had problems here earlier this weekend, the 45 car. This is Altenberg who spun in the fountain area. So we're early in the going. 3 laps are complete, and the lead belongs to the Audis. Vila is out front. Capello is second. Herbert's third. We'll be back. This is not the first time we've seen troubles for the Panos. They've been involved in several incidents of contact, including a few weeks ago at Laguna Seca, a couple of different incidents. We'll see if Bill Auberlen can get back on the right track. Speed Channel's coverage of the American Le Mans Series being brought to you today by Audi. In technology, performance, and design, our goal remains constant. Never follow. Back on the streets of Miami, the three Audis running up front. They have since the drop of the green a few moments ago. Frank Vela is leading in car number 1. Dindo Capello in the 2 car is in second spot. Champion ADT Audi of Johnny Herbert has fallen a few car lengths further back, third in the 38. Bill, you were thinking that Herbert would be very quick here this week.
He has looked very good in every session so far, and I think a lot of that precision comes from his days driving Formula One. He's just very comfortable driving these type of circuits and very much at home. Doesn't seem to be at all intimidated by the fact the car is sliding out sometimes within just an inch or two of the walls.
As we take a look, the lead Audi is going up to try to lap the GTS leader, Terry Borchelli there. His teammate, actually, in the number 25 Celine, Franz Conrad's group, running 2 cars here this weekend. Let's take a look at our Cadillac storylines as we get into the early stages of the Grand Prix Americas here, the Cadillac American Le Mans Challenge. Track conditions really have been the big story this weekend.
And I think David Rabb might have called it more perfectly by saying anybody that does finish is going to finish well. It's going to be very, very tough to get through all of this.
Today's race, and of course next week at Petit. No. One of the BMWs.
Boy, that's a big one.
One of the Chris Gleason. I believe this is Emil Asentato in the other BMW, the 6-cylinder car. This is the 40 car. With problems, he's belted the wall. Carlos de Quesada starting the 40 today is GT. Rick Fairbanks from Greenville, South Carolina, and Scooter Gable. Gable actually trained with de Quesada today. They've gotten into that area.
Yeah, that just looks to me like he almost went right straight in from those skid marks.
Well, we were there watching some practice yesterday. This is by the fountain on the Bayside portion of the racetrack. And Bill, it's a quick left and then a right to get around the fountain, back left, and there's not a lot of room there.
No, there isn't. And the other thing, too, is right there, you see that's a pavement change. Now, if you're on this side of the pavement, there is very, very poor traction. I mean, it's really substantially different. It requires a great precision to stay. Now, here he is.
He was loose.
Oh, man.
Loose in, side slapped the concrete.
Boy, that hurt.
Knocked the back clip off, back bumper cover off the car. Bent up the front end of the 40 as well, and so there is caution, at least on the back side of the racetrack, and the yellow is out. We're seeing full course caution for the first time here today. Our speed strip, top of the screen, shows the running order and the time remaining in this 2-hour, 45-minute timed race. Carlos de Quesada moving inside the car. You can see him looking there, but there will have to be, I would assume, a tow truck, a flatbed to go back and get it.
Yeah, this has to be very frustrating. Carlos is a local driver, so I'm sure that the pressure, having a lot of friends and family here, that can't make his day very good.
But what a beautiful venue as de Quesada gets out wearing the Hans device. He closes the door. That 6-cylinder BMW closing the door on his day early here in the streets of Miami. The Audis dominating the early stages of the Cadillac American Le Mans Challenge. The color, the speed, the excitement of American Le Mans Series action. Back on the streets of Miami after nearly a 10-year absence, IMSA, of the American Le Mans Series. And it's great to be here with you. Beautiful layout here, very near the Bayside. Bill, the track that we had seen here previous was a little bit north of where this layout is, and there may be some changes before next year's event, but it's been a great event, a great weekend so far. Under caution because of Carlos de Quesada spinning on the backside, whacking one of the concrete barriers. Let's get down to pit road.
Well, an early retirement down here, Rick, is the number 30 machine with the Banana Joe's Lola. Clintfield jumps out. What's the problem, mate?
Just after it went yellow, an output flange broke. So, we'll get back to the pit stop market, get a few laps, but it's too bad. We were running pretty good. The Celine passed me right there before the yellow, but...
The track conditions, everyone's talking about the slickness from 3 through 6. How is it now in the race?
Really, the whole track is slippery, but it's almost like going from dry to wet, going from 3, on. But, I was just kind of setting in a rhythm, but too bad.
We'll see you at Petit, hopefully. Thanks.
Clintfield, high school student, just past age 17. Very talented young racer.
I'm jealous. What an opportunity for that young man.
Absolutely. His dad, John, of course, drives the other team car. They have an MG Lola in the 675 category. In fact, the 37 car is second in the 675s behind Claudia Hurtgen and the Nighthawk car. As we take a look at one of the factory Audis, feedback between drivers and crews here, crucial to better performance. Our Audi Tech Talk today, Bill briefs us on the importance of the driver's debriefing session.
It used to be that to debrief after a race, the driver would talk about gearing, handling, and maybe how they can improve the car for next year. But boy, how things have changed. Here is the champion racing report from Three Rivers, Quebec, and it is 100 pages long of detailed information. Pretty remarkable. Such things as the lifespan of the car. Now, every piece on the Audi R8 does have a lifespan, and this is for wheels. Wheel number 1094 currently has 4,264 kilometers of running on it. So they know it reaches a certain point, they discard it, hopefully in my trash bin. The engineer, as he sits in the pits, not only makes note of every single lap time as the race goes on, but every tire temperature, every wheel pressure for every lap. Even driver comments before the race started. Stefan Johansson here said some pretty nice comments about the Hawaiian Tropic Girls. Stefan. But this is all important because it all goes together to make the difference for a winning effort.
Our Audi Tech Talk for today in the streets of Miami. GT, of course, always a great battle. The Alex Job, Cybernaut, McKenna Porsches at the top of the charts. 4 of 5 drivers of the 5 leading drivers. The points chase for them are Alex Job's drivers, Sasha Massa and Lucas Luhr, his teammate. They're leading a GT right now, just a point apart as we work toward the end of the season. Timo Bernhard and Jörg Bergmeister, 3rd and 5th. They share the number 22 car, running 2nd right now. Kevin Buckler with a great season in 4th spot. He's not really in contention to win the GT Championship in American Le Mans, but a win at Daytona, a win at Le Mans.
Yeah, terrific.
What a year.
Oh, just the dream season of all for Kevin. And he was so disappointed when he came to Laguna Seca there in the last race that they had tried to change the car over from its previous setup and try to get it ready for Laguna. And I think they just simply ran out of time. That really hurt him in the points battle. And at no point was the car ever truly competitive. It's just very frustrating because he is a very competitive driver and a very good driver. He's put himself together a really fine team because when you come up and challenge Alex Job Racing, you have to be awfully good.
Lucas is out in front. Take a ride with Lucas here briefly and through the streets of Miami. It's the Grand Prix Americas, the renewal of this great event and the most beautiful venue I think we've seen all season. There's your top 10. We'll be right back. In 1983 on the streets of Miami, John Fitzpatrick was the pole sitter, but Billy was penalized for jumping the green.
Well, so did Danny and Guys get a penalty. He slammed the wall here in the Interscope Lola 600. The rain was endless this year.
Caution car had to come out. In fact, the race was red flagged early. Al Holbert in the number 41 declared the winner. So much water on the track, they had to bring the mechanical equipment out to clear it.
Yeah, we were looking for boats that day.
No need of that here, although it did rain hard around the noon hour today. The sun returned shortly afterward. It's very warm, and the weather now is beautiful. Calvin Fish, early pit stops for the Alex Job team.
What they're really doing here is making sure that neither one of their drivers gets affected by a DNF here this afternoon. With 10 laps on the board, that driver then scores points. That was Lucas Luhr. This was really pre-planned so that you came in after 10 laps if you got a yellow, so you get points today.
Yeah, I mean, on a circuit like this, and we have now just one race to go, and Sasha and I, our goal is to be tight on points. So we say we take no risks. We just do 10 laps. You have the point you need, and now Sasha is in.
This affects strategy, though, Lucas, because, I mean, there was talk about you could go do this on one stop pretty easily with a big window, in fact, about 90 minutes potentially under green flag. Is this going to affect you for overall victory, do you think?
No, I don't think so. It's still early in the race, and we are way faster than everybody else so far. Our second car did the same, so now we go racing.
All right, mate. Good luck, Bill. It must be nice to have that luxury of being the fastest man out there. I go back to the front, they think.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Sasha, you see, he's very cool and collected. He is so fast. He's just such a great driver.
But this is quick Kevin Buckler in the Racers Group Porsche, the Adobe Winery car. They're out in front now, and Brian Cunningham will share the car today with Buckler. They won at Mid-Ohio in this group.
They are a good team. But get back to Alex Job. He is just such a polished team. To even think about that, what we just went through that little scenario, he avoids what happened to Johnny O'Connell at Laguna Seca, because Johnny had just gotten a Corvette when that fire erupted. He didn't score any points at all. So they have thought about this. Alex Job made a decision, and they have so confident in their guys, and they're willing to take that opportunity, bring it in. It's a little bit of a risk, but you know what? I think it pays off. He's very good.
Audis continue to circulate out in front. Full course caution for that incident on the backside over the Bayshore area there around the fountain, where the BMW got loose coming into the fountain area, side-slapped the wall, did a lot of damage to the number 40. The leaders in category here after 12 laps. Bila is out in front. Claudia Hurtgen in the Nighthawk MG Lola leads the 675 prototypes. She rejoined the team several weeks ago, did a great job. They won at Laguna in the 675s, and Claudia put the car on the pole for the category here this weekend.
Yeah, she's quick. She's such an impressive driver.
Chad Block is here. Stecker sponsorship on the car again this weekend. He'll share the car along with Steve Knight, one of the team principals. And in GT right now, as we told you, Kevin Buckler, the GTS point leader. Looks like Terry Borgeler on the pole. He's still out in front of the number 26 Celine. Jan Beekes.
Well, an update on what this caution period does to the leaders as far as their pit strategy. Just checked in with Champion Audi. I said, how much yellow do you need to make this a one-stop race? They said, we've already had it. We only needed 5 laps. And now this, for all those Audis anyway, with that great direct injection fuel economy, they're only going to have to come onto pit road once.
Wow, that's a huge advantage. I talked earlier with one of the Cadillac guys and asked him that same story. That could they possibly do it just with a single stop if they got a whole bunch of yellows? And he kind of shook his head and said, I don't think so. I just don't think there's going to be nearly enough. So that's the difference. I guess the Audi people have just kind of got this thing figured out to such a fine science that they can dial that car back, take all the power away, and just make it a real fuel miser.
On board here with Frank Biela. Coming up, we should be getting the restart. That's the area where De Quesada crashed the BMW a few moments ago around the fountain. They've obviously cleaned things up. The car is gone here, so we should be getting the green flag once again.
A beautiful sight. He's right alongside Biscayne Bay at this point, just to his right. All the boats out there in the water is just gorgeous. This is up beside the Bayside Marketplace. Very narrow. This is one of the more, I think, frustrating parts. As we take a look here at our onboard telemetry. And it's so narrow that, as you can see, the chances of making a successful pass are very slim. Now, keep an idea. Just watch this when he hits the accelerator. And watch the speed. Look at this.
Green flag is back out here in Miami. Quickly through the gears for Biela, the leader.
Boy, oh boy, don't you wish your Hertz rental car would do that?
Hertz probably wouldn't like it that way, though.
My.
Biela on the throttle. 34 other machines in formation behind him. Capello in the 2 is second. Herbert in the 38 is third. 3 Audis, 1, 2, 3. Mark Goosens has the Riley and Scott, the black 36 from the Jim Matthews team up in fourth. We've seen that car in quite a while.
You see how gentle it's being right now down through this area. This was the real slippery area. In fact, right there you can actually see the pavement almost has a shine on it. They've been sliding across here. When they talk about having no grip, they're not really exaggerating very much. The grip level is just about 0. Here's the 2 different pavements. Now he's on concrete, back onto a different grade of asphalt. Some of the cars starts to skate right away.
Biela down to 65 miles an hour to that left hand.
Up to the narrow section.
Front straightaway, put left 15 on the board.
These cars continue to impress me so much that normally race cars are good at specific things. You may get one race car that's very good on a high-speed track, one that's good on a short track that requires a lot of downforce, but the Audi R8 has worked well on every type of circuit. No, there's the ProDrive Ferrari is engaged in a little...
One of the Vipers, the 45. Peter Cox starting the ProDrive Ferrari that won at Laguna Seca a couple of weeks ago, and he stalled the car evidently.
Yeah, I think maybe he just wasn't sure if it was clear to back up or not. Gorgeous car, stalled it again. He's got to try and refire it.
There's another look at it. And they come to the corner. Contact now, back in there.
Look back in there. That
the
was
Viper tagged him.
Boy, that was a move that just didn't have any possibility of happening.
And that is Dario's brother Marino Franchitti going through the inside, trying to. Cox back underway in the ProDrive 33.
I think Dario may need to give him a couple of lessons in passing on that one. Car looks fine, though. I can't even see any winglets on the front corner. It appears like it's okay. Yeah, they're both still in place. That's a beautiful piece of work. That thing just has the highest quality carbon fiber.
As we take a look at the battle for the lead in GT, here comes the 23 rather. Sasha Massa is third. Kevin Buckler is leading. Newgarden in the 21, a new entry here this weekend, in second spot between them.
Now this should be a great battle because both of these drivers admit that they love racing on street circuits. They love being around walls, not intimidated at all, and they're both very much at home in these cars. Sasha, remember back at Three Rivers, boy, he was a tiger. He did not want to get beaten by his own teammate. He loves a good race. He'll be having a ball right now.
Timo Bernhard driving the 22. Oh, more contact. A piece of bodywork. That looks like it's off one of the 675 cars.
Yeah, it does. I think that's a rear deck section. And again, that doesn't necessarily mean too much on a track like this. If it was at Road Atlanta, that'd be very serious because the aerodynamics at high speed be greatly affected. But here, it's a point and squirt circuit.
Buckler in that blue Porsche, the Racers Group car, is out in front. The McKenna, Alex Job, Zybernaut cars, second and third at GT. Good battle here. Newgarden in the number 21, the Perspectives USA car, just came to pit road.
See the shine of the pavement again, the headlights just reflecting off the pavement. That shows you how slippery this can be.
That's the sealer that was put down on the asphalt earlier in the week.
Turn 15.
Board radios. Trying to show you what happened that knocked that piece of bodywork loose from one of the race cars here. Part of that same incident. Take a look at the right-hand side. One of the Corvettes got into the back of Ben Devlin there, it looks like.
Oh, boy, he sure did.
That's the 4 car, and the yellow is out. Andy Pilgrim driving the number 4. The contact evidently
there it goes.
caused that bodywork. The deckler just blew right off of the Archangel 675 car.
Probably caused Andy's heart rate to double at that point, too.
Those fellows in the 3 right behind the Archangel car when the bodywork did come loose. So there is a caution in that area. This is turn 15, we're told, and a full course caution so they can go to remove the debris. So the Audis continue to lead. We're early in the going. Second full course caution of the day here on the streets of Miami. The Grand Prix America's inaugural running. A return to the streets of Miami after nearly 10 years. And the crowds have been huge so far this weekend. Tomorrow, the Kart FedEx Champ cars in action here. The Trans Am Series as well. You'll see the Trans Am Tour for the BM Goodrich Tires Cup here on Speed tomorrow afternoon. There's Goosens in the 36. He is 4th. Is that Johnny Herbert? Greg Biela is your leader. We'll be right back in Miami. Just some of the flavor of racing here in the streets of Miami. Huge crowds all weekend. Everyone very excited about the return of major sports car racing to the streets of Miami, right along the bayfront. There you see the 3 of Ron Fellows and Johnny O'Connell, and we'll have a little bit of a look later on at what happened to them at Laguna with that race car, but amazingly, that is the same car that burned at Laguna Seca just a few weeks ago. The 4 car, though, Calvin Fish, suffered some damage in that incident. What's the story there?
Well, they believe the car's okay. Andy has certainly not reported on the radio any handling difficulties, but they're going to watch their telemetry, make sure that the water temps don't go up, that is. They're concerned they may have to dislodge some of the ducting there on the car, so they're going to watch that carefully, and they may bring him in under this caution if there is any kind of problem. Also, the Alex Joe Porsches were back in again, and they just did a quick top up, and really they have now a full fuel tank of fuel, so they can extend that window a little bit further. Being at the back of the pack, they really had nothing to lose there.
As we watch the GTS cars, that's the Olive Garden Coca-Cola Ferrari 550. Right behind one of the Corvettes, under full course caution because of the debris. There's the fountain area here. Get a look at some of the fans on hand enjoying some great action. Now, one thing's sure about race drivers in the American Le Mans Series, they're competitive no matter what the event. As some sports car and some kart champ car drivers proved earlier this week here in Miami. The 2 major series of the Grand Prix Americas, the ALMS and Kart, squared off in a battle of supremacy, fierce volleyball competition. Team Panos represented the sports car group, while Bruno Junqueira led the kart side. And the kart squad claimed a pretty controversial victory in the sand.
Teamwork for sure. Anyone gets their specialty. Ori was very good with his forehead because he plays volleyball, and I was good with the legs, and the end was fine. You won.
Who knew they cheated so bad? Nobody would have knew that they're just it's a lot of cheating, a lot of inbreeding, a lot of infighting there. I don't know what's going on. Actually, it was great fun. We did the best we could, and we lost by a point or 2. There were some calls that were maybe, who knows, the ref was a kart personnel guy. Well, you know how it goes.
They're pretty intense out there as we get a look at this racetrack from our Porsche Skycam today. What a beautiful day to be up in a helicopter and to get a look at the venue that's been created here for this renewed Grand Prix Americas, 675s, a tight battle, of course, all season long. It's going to be a question in the early part of the year, which team would survive? And now, the Nighthawk MT Lola, that has certainly had its problems. They've been very strong, winning at Laguna, leading here. But the points leader continues to be John Field in the Banana Joe's number 37. Ben Devlin in that car that lost its deck with second. And then Jeff Buckman and his teammates with Murray and Willman very close to a tie for third. Up to the tag end of the season. This is the 9th race, the 10 race schedule. Next week, of course, the season finale. Team Le Mans flag the flag coverage here on Speed Channel. Calvin Fish, what's the story on the Panos, the 51 car?
Well, Billy Oldham was in here quickly. They were concerned they may have damaged that left rear when he got tapped there as he went through that turn 5 area. And they checked it out, talked about McFurley's back underway, but he has to catch the pack up as they go back to green.
Green flag waving, second restart of the day, and here we go down the front straightaway, starting to get a little bit overcast. Now we're going to get the headlights on. And the Audis continue to lead. Vila in the 1, Capello in the 2, Herbert in the white Champion ADT car for 38. Goosens in that black number 36. That Riley and Scott, a great run for that team. They do not run all the races. Tony Ave will pair with Goosens today. Ave, maybe the busiest guy in road racing. He'll be in action here tomorrow in the Trans Am run. He is a very accomplished road racer.
Boy, the shine off that pavement, that just looks so slick, so slippery out there. Something interesting I noticed there when they took the green flag is that all 3 of the Audis must be running fairly low because they all got little sparks when they went around that one right-hand corner, and I didn't see them come off any other cars. So a lot of cars have chosen to go with fairly hard springs, but they have increased the ride height just to give themselves a little more clearance on some of the boxes. Apparently not the Audis.
Skycam giving you a look at the backside of the circuit along the waterfront and down toward the front straightaway. There's the very tight turn 16 that dumps the cars on the long front stretch. And it's not truly a straight front straightaway. It's got a little kink in it.
It does have a kink, and it's a crowned roadway because Miami does get a fair bit of rain down here, so it drops off substantially from the middle of the road over each side. There's the sparks again. See that? And yet no other car. The Cadillacs aren't leaving any. The Panos aren't leaving any. Alola.
Get in the 11 car, sitting 9th overall now. 8th overall, we should say. Leading in the 675s.
That should be a nice car to race here because the steering is lighter, the braking is a little bit more effective. Just the light weight makes it that much better. And they have one huge advantage over either the GTS or GT class drivers, and that because they're in an open car, it's a lot cooler, and today is hot.
Watching the leaders. At 675, battle should be a good one. Top 5, top 6 cars are nose to tail. There's Emmanuel Collard in the first of the Cadillacs, the 7th. J.J. Leto has moved the 8th car up into the next position. For 4th, Mark Goosens leading out Magnuson by less than 2/10.
Goosens has been very impressive this weekend. He's been fast in the sessions and hasn't put a wheel wrong. I hate to say that. It might be the kiss of death. You just say, right there, that looked like a little bit of smoke off the tires. That's one of the difficulties. I think we saw Andy Pilgrim run into the back of a car, and we saw Marino Franchitti have a problem with braking as well. And because this track gives you such poor grip, that you see drivers actually having more contact. Because of that, you go to a normal level where you think you can slow down the car, and suddenly your tires are sliding across. It's just like black ice.
There's the gap between Goosens and Magnuson. Now remember, Magnuson and David Brabham in that 50 car, they've won on the street course in Washington, D.C. earlier this summer, so that's a good street fighting team.
Yeah, although the difficulty here, again, is the bumps. Washington being a new pavement, it was immaculate, beautiful, smooth. This is a good battle shaping up here, the Celine and the Corvette.
For the lead in GTS, Terry Borgello in the white Celine, Franz Conrad's car, Tony Seiler in front. There with Terry, you're riding with the 3 car on. Fellows, Johnny O'Connell will jump into this car later. Here is something. Inside, Fellows going for the lead.
Something to pay attention to there. That is the actual temperature that's taken right down by the pedal. So his feet right now are sitting at 145-degree temperatures. That's exactly what we just spoke about, how hot these cars can be all closed up.
There you see just how tight the final corner is. So Borgello gives up the lead at GTS, and he was holding up Fellows. Fellows now has opened up the gap. And the 4 car has moved by also.
I think Terry has a problem because the 4 car went by so easily. I wonder if he has a transmission problem. Looked like it didn't come off the corner very strong.
We were talking before we came on the air today. Borgello has managed to put the Celine on pole a couple of times here this year in American Le Mans competition. But it's really been a case of reliability for that team. They haven't been able to win so far.
A bit frustrating. It's a well. Now here is the pass taking place. Ron is just simply going to duck out. Now Terry knows he's there. Terry, a very good driver, gave him the freedom. Good big open alleyway. But the real surprise was when they came out of the front straight, how quickly the number 4 Corvette got by as well.
So Fellows is up at the top of the charts in GTS. In the 3, he's 11th overall. His teammate Andy Pilgrim in 2nd spot. In the 4, Borcheller and Emmanuel Maspetti in the Olive Garden Coca-Cola Ferrari, the top 4 in GTS. And there's the lead car. I want to correct something I said a moment ago. Johnny O'Connell will tell us a little more about the fire that broke out in one of the 3 cars at Laguna Seca. This is the car, though, from Le Mans. Fellows is leading. Pilgrim, Borcheller, Naspetti, and Peter Cox in the other Ferrari. Speed Channel's coverage of the American Le Mans Series in Miami being brought to you today by Audi. In technology, performance, and design, our goal remains constant. Never follow. Alongside former champion here, Bill Adam, I'm Rick Benjamin, the 67, the other racers group Porsche and GT. This is Michael Schramm today, teaming with Vic Rice. He was involved in an incident, tight battle toward the front of the GT category. Leaders were lapping by the other Orbit Racing Porsche, the 42. 42 moved over, Bill, and caused the case of where Michael Schramm just really didn't have any place to go.
That's exactly it. I mean, I think on any other racetrack, the car could have decelerated enough, but unfortunately, Schramm was in a position where on the inside edge of the track, there was no traction for him to stop, so he did thump him. And you could see that the radiator broken on the front of the car there, just fluid spewing out the back.
Meantime, in all that action with the fluid on the racetrack and the other prototype car in the mix there as well, as we watched the second place car in GTS, that afforded an opportunity for a lead change in GT, or rather a change for second spot in GT. Timo Bernhard has taken the ALMS field number 22 past his teammate 23 with Sasha Maassen. So they're second now, Bernhard and Bergmeister, behind Kevin Buckler in the other racers group car, through 66. Problems evidently were being told for the number 4 car. Andy Pilgrim on board. He's dropped back to 17th overall. He was second in GTS. Giving up a lot of ground. Naspetti and Borcheller have gotten by, as is Peter Cox. He spun.
Well, what is this?
He's going the wrong way in a one-way street.
Looks like something loose here at the front corner of the car as well. Maybe that all goes back to that bump.
There was contact with the 4 earlier. Race network Porsche and GT moving out of the way. Peter Barrett in the mid-ring. Vipers and GTS moving by. There's the Dome Judd, the Chamberlain Racing 27. Bill Primo back in that car at Laguna. Jim Van, veteran road racer from England, will pair with Blue today. On board with your race leader, Frank Field. 675, I believe we've had a lead change there. John Field has taken the Banana Joe's MG Lola past Bonnie Hurtgen. Here comes James Weaver for second, locked up the brakes, Bill.
Boy, he did a nice job there. Kept that car very straight, but for a fraction of a second, once again, because he's on that area of pavement with very poor traction, just got the wheels all smoking. Now, he kept it locked for such a short period. I don't think that'll be a problem with flat spotting the tires. I'm sure he's going to be all right that way.
So Field in the 37 has taken the lead. Weaver and Butch Leitzinger and Rob Dyson, 16 car. They've moved to second spot. The battle of GT rages on as well. There's the 23 with Sasha Maassen being passed by Field. Action everywhere here in Miami. 1.4 miles, 16 turns in one of the biggest fields of the year. 35 cars took the green here this afternoon. Field is the point leader. Reliability has been an issue for this team, although they do have a couple of wins.
They're getting wheel spin off the corner. The back of the car is swaying back.
What a pretty piece of engineering that MG Lola is. I'm wondering if Hurtgen in the Nighthawk car may be having a problem. She was on the pole in that machine, led easily, now has backpedaled to third.
Well, something that I think will come into play today is driver conditioning. You're going to see which are the fittest drivers, because even though you're in an open car and the temperature might be less than, say, inside that of the Corvette, because you're constantly shifting up to the gearbox, down to the box, turning, braking, over and over and over again, it really drains you after a while, and you start losing your concentration. Well, when that happens, all you can do is slow down or crash.
John Field qualified third in the 675 category, and he is now the leader early in the going. 30 laps are complete. Comes Field going by with the Porsches. Half a second now separating the battle for second spot between Weaver and Hurtgen. Rather, Weaver, we should say, the 16 is the leader. Field with the 37.
James has always loved racing here in Miami. He has always been good. Every car he's ever driven. And he too getting wheel spin off the corner. Again, the headlights show just how slick this area is down here.
As we we watch the battle of the 675s. Jan Beekes, any problem in the Nighthawk 11 car?
Well, no, they say that there's no problem that they know of. So they're watching the telemetry, they're looking at everything, but Claudia has said nothing on the radio. As far as the team knows, everything's A-OK. Calvin?
Quick update on the John Field machine. They had big problems yesterday in qualifying with what they call the starter-nator. It's an alternator and a starter motor all in one. They've really been stymied with this all season long. The last round at Laguna, they had similar problems early in the season, even though they won at Sebring. They really struggled with that. Well, they've had a new battery. When they charged the battery, it was actually frying this piece of equipment, so they think they got it straightened out. But down here in this camp, the 37 car is very much fingers crossed to make sure that car doesn't break down again today.
Out of the front straightaway, the look from the Porsche Sky Cam, you get a sense of the huge crowd that's come out to see the American Le Mans Series in action on the streets of Miami. And a great battle in the 675s. There's Ben Devlin, had that bodywork problem in the Archangel car, qualified very well. But if you want to get a sense of how good these 675 cars are on a very tight street circuit like this, John Field has come from 14th to 7th overall to lead the category. James Weaver, 19th to 8th.
Great runs. Someday, I think we're probably going to have a field of 40 of these 675 cars. What a battle that will be. They're a beautiful little piece of machinery, as you point out. I like looking at them as much with the bodywork off them, so you can appreciate the level of workmanship that goes into them.
Take a look at how quickly these two cars are getting around the racetrack. Weaver on lap 30, and Hurtgen on lap 30, a little bit faster. And traffic, a big factor, as we were watching practice and qualifying this weekend, Bill, with all the cars out, of course, for European-style qualifying. If you were caught in traffic, you could be 8 or 10 seconds off the pace.
If you get caught in traffic at the wrong part, it can be so frustrating. That's something that you always try and set up passes as best you can, but eventually, when you do realize that you're going to get blocked at the wrong area of the track, where the block will cost you a huge chunk of time, that's when you try to force the pass, and of course, that's when the probability is well for making a mistake.
675 leaders, 1, 2, and 3. Field there in the blue and red car. Weaver in the black 16. Hurtgen in the black and orange 11, just getting by the GT leader, which continues to be Kevin Buckler. The Racers Group, Mail to Web Porsche, that's the blue car. Number 66 right behind, running 18th overall. Still leading. The 22 of Timo Bernhard, number 23 of Sasha Massa, the two Alex Job cars that have dominated most of the season in GT.
They've had a great year.
They have.
They're all such good drivers, too. I'm continually impressed. Sasha and Lucas, they fight back and forth so well with everybody else, and they keep on doing it themselves. One will get the pole one race, the next one gets the pole the next one. They're best friends. That is the ideal situation. I think Alex Job has a lot to do with fostering that.
Tight battle for second. Weaver unable to do anything with John Field, who's the 675 leader. The race, though, in the hands of Frank Vila and the Team Yost Dowdy. Car number 1. Early in the going on the streets of Miami, the Cadillac American Le Mans Challenge will return in a moment. Some of the history of the Miami Grand Prix. 1984, Emerson Fittipaldi made his return to big-time racing, charging to the front here in the 84 car, but unfortunately, he didn't make it to the checkered flag. The winners, how about Brian Redmond and Doc Bundy?
Yeah, Brian Redmond, maybe my favorite driver in the whole world. That's him there in the right. What a gentleman he is.
You were in the 44 with Bob Tullius.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to drive. Oh, no!
Battling for the lead in GTS, the Olive Garden Coca-Cola car. Emmanuel Naspetti has spun. He was closing in on Ron Fellows in the Corvette. During break, we were watching. They were less than a second behind, and I think Naspetti was really pushing hard.
He might just have done that because he was really closing very, very quickly on Fellows. In fact, big spin. Now he's going to check the tires.
Closing in. The Olive Garden Ferrari. Another look at what happens. He passes the 43. That's the orange, the green car you're seeing there behind the 3 car.
Chasing Ronnie and jumps on the power. That's exactly. Just got on the power a fraction too early. Boy, oh boy.
And he quickly locked up the brakes to keep it off the barrier. Good bit of driving.
What? Oh, no.
Oh, he spun twice.
Oh, man, how frustrating.
Lit the tires up and almost got drilled.
Boy, oh boy.
Peter Cox going by in the Pro Drive car. Here's another look inside the car, real time.
Now just listen. Wow. Well, you heard that he didn't really get on the throttle very hard coming off that corner. That again, this is going to haunt us all day long. Just a low level of traction in this circuit. I think you almost have to drive it like as if you're in the rain all the time. Just really squeeze and power in gently rather than snapping the throttle open.
Alex Benny's given us a lot of distance, a lot of ground around fellows in the Corvette number 3. Look at our Porsche digital pilot, get a sense of the uses of the accelerator, the brake, and the lateral G's that car is capable of.
And you know, when you saw that car spin, and Bill, you said it didn't sound like he used much throttle. Well, one of the things that the drivers have been complaining about this weekend is on the Zero Olive Garden Ferrari that the throttle is like a hair trigger, that they have had to just use it like pushing on eggshells, because they say once that power comes into that V12, the thing really takes off.
And this is not a torquey motor compared to the engine in the Pro Drive car.
No, that's right. The Olive Garden car is still using the 5.5 liter V12 motor, that's the way they come, a 550 Maranello.
Listening to the radio talk. We watch the race leader, Frank Vila. He's got a 5.5 second lead. Calvin Fish, trouble in the Corvette pits?
Well, with the number 4 machine, we saw Andy actually tag Ben Devlin in the 13.675 car a little earlier in the proceeding, and the officials have replayed that footage and determined that was avoidable contact, and they brought him in for a stop-and-go penalty. So pretty slow down here through the pit, 60 kilometers an hour, slow down the front straightaway as well. So it probably cost him 10 to 15 seconds, so not a happy camp here at Corvette.
And James Weaver has made a really nice move there. The number 1 Audi come up to pass him. James saw him in time, and there could easily have been contact, but James, using his experience, pulled over, gave him a little bit more room, almost tagged the wall himself, but he saved that one.
Talking about the situation regarding the 900s, how much quicker they are than the 675s. You got a sense there on a track like this. I think it took Vila a little while to get by John Field. Well, tomorrow, the Kart FedEx Champ Cars are in action here on the streets of Miami. Jan Beekes, some of the Kart stars enjoying watching the ALMS teams in action.
Yes, they are. Adrian Fernandez watching intently. There's some great racing out there. What do you think of sports car racing?
Absolutely. It's the first time that I've been able to watch one personally, and I really love it. The cars are fantastic, and I think they have great racing. So we managed to combine our pit stand here with these guys, and it's working well for everybody.
Yeah, Adrian's pit stand behind us here has the Conrad team, of course, for Terry Borchler, excuse me. Now, as a team owner, would someday sports cars be in your future?
I think so, because I have spoken, a good friend of mine is Didier Tays, and he says that he has never enjoyed racing as much as he's doing it now, because he's so relaxed, and you don't have the pressure that you have right now, and he's been able to enjoy racing in a better level. So absolutely, I would consider it.
All right, enjoy your time watching the race.
Thank you.
Meantime, watching the battle for the lead in GT. That's Kevin Buckler in the blue car, holding back the car of Alex Jones' team. 22, second in GT, Timo Bernhard. The Orbit Forces has taken another Lexus 42 car in trouble again, and he's on pit road with damage. Those two cars in the front of the pack in GT, Bill knows the 10.
Yeah, they do have a good battle right now. It's funny, just to get back to some of the people watching today, I think that's part of the universal appeal of these big, beautiful sports cars, and everybody likes it. We've seen Jacques Villeneuve. He's walking around here today with his manager, Craig Pollock. Juan Pablo Montoya, he's in the pit lane, and there's a lot of people just love these cars.
Off week for the Formula One stars, watching James Weaver and Rod Dyson Stetson Norfolk FG Lola. They just had this car for a couple of races. James has come from 9th overall, second in the category. I believe that there's Field in the Banana Joe's car. Tight traffic everywhere going down into the corner. Show you a close moment for Weaver in that 16. Oh, contact there.
Wow, boy.
Like the Panos might have gotten into the back of the caddy. Weaver off the gas to let those three 900s get through.
James is good. He can not only go fast, but he can save them too.
Down the straightaway.
I bet you the Formula One guys are enjoying this today because they're actually watching passing for a change.
Sure. Capello there in the yellow trim Dowdy, the two car, shows second overall. Weaver in the 16, Field in the 37. We'll let the Panos get through the 51. And that's Alberlin. That's a car that's not in the lead lap. He's gotten back up though to 14th overall, Bill. 3 laps down at the moment, and he's come up through the field nicely.
I think you want to keep going because again, one quick shot. If you're out of the race here, you just never know.
Manuel Collard in the 7 Cadillac, the silver and black car, almost 3 wide for a moment there. Johnny Herbert third in the white car, the 38. That's the champion ABT outing. We'll show you the top 5. Jan Magnussen climbing in 5th. Claudia Hertgen is 10th. We'll be back in Miami. Today's Speed Channel coverage of the American Le Mans Series in Miami being brought to you by Audi. And technology, performance, and design, our goal remains constant. Never follow. With former Miami Grand Prix champ Bill Adam, I'm Rick Benjamin. Glad to have you with us. Jan Beekes, Calvin Fish on pit road today, and we are under full course caution for the 3rd time today. One of the GT Porsches in trouble. This is the number 21 car, Michael Newgarden from Monaco. Losing the handle on the car. Bill, this is coming up the backside. He side-slapped the wall.
Yep, just barely tagged it, but suddenly, look at the angle on that back wheel. He's broken something in the suspension back there, so he's getting rear steering.
And they don't handle very well like that.
Oh boy, only for one particular corner.
So the safety crew out to talk to Newgarden. They'll have to come and retrieve that car. And on a street circuit where there are not a lot of places to put rescue vehicles, it can take a few moments to do that. So we're back under caution here.
Now what the rescue is helping out is as we just talked about, is the Olive Garden Ferrari. He had lost about 30 seconds to Ron Fellows' Corvette because of a spin. Now the pace car just takes that deficit all away, and he's going to be right back.
Car number 1, Frank Biela, the overall leader. Some teams may be planning pit stops. It's been an eventful week here in Miami. A couple of the team drivers in ALMS got a chance to take a swim. Earlier this week, back on Wednesday, a couple of stars of the American Le Mans Series headed over to the Miami Seaquarium to have a swim with some of the Dolphins. David Brabham and Stefan Johansson were the drivers, and they took to it like a couple of fish to water. Brab's hitching a ride there with one of his new Finn friends, and Stefan got quite the push start, unlike any he's had before.
They're just such a gracious animal, and it's just an amazing experience, you know, when they connect with you, you know, and just to feel the animal and everything, it's just fantastic.
Well, I have to say today I've fulfilled one of my life's ambitions, really, to swim with dolphins. I mean, they're just a fantastic mammal. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And to be pushed like that and feel the power of the beast behind you is quite incredible. It's very touching.
Just part of the pageantry, really, that's made up the week here in Miami. All the teams, all the drivers just thrilled about the prospects of coming here and renewing the old Miami Grand Prix now as the Grand Prix Americans.
It always was pretty special. I mean, they just do it right down here, and I think part of the enthusiasm of the crowd has very European crowd, and they just love racing. Absolutely can't get enough of it.
Full house of fans here today. Leaders headed toward pit road as they come off turn 16. Biela in Audi number 1 stopping. Capello is headed there as well. Calvin Fish.
Frank Biela brings it in, and right behind him, Dindo Capello. A few cars separating them on the racetrack, so Dindo's going to turn it over to Tom Christensen. Meanwhile, Frank Biela straps in his teammate, Emanuele Pirro, the current ALMS champion. He'll go to work here. He's getting over that big shunt that he had at Mosport earlier this season. Said he's now 100% fit, feeling good. He's working out. He's very fit for an old boy. Emanuele's looking around, refueling is done. Tire stop is complete. He maintains the lead. Let's go down to Jan Beekes.
And while the Yost cars leave, we've got the Pinos coming in with a driver change. David Brabham will be getting in the car. Now, the most notable thing, Calvin, is you had the number 1 and 2 Audi, but the 3rd place Audi, the champion Audi 38, did not pit. So therefore, we've got these guys pitting out of 5th place, the 2 Yost Audis, but a gamble up there for champion.
So that does put Johnny Herbert. Stefan Johansson has yet to get into the 38. Herbert will be the restart leader. Brabham and Magnussen making a driver change and tire change as well. Back to Calvin Fish.
Well, a very hot Frank Biela jumps out of the car. Frank, sensational qualifying session yesterday with you and Dindo, and equally good race today.
Yeah, it was good fun. I mean, he was pushing all the time. I don't know why, but in the last 10, 15 laps after the last full course yellow, I could increase the gap a little bit. And I felt quite comfortable. The car is fine, so I cross fingers for Emanuele now.
How far can one of these Audis go on fuel here with green flag running? I mean, we saw in Mid-Ohio, Tom nearly stretched it about 2 hours, I think, but green flag running here, I assume you'll need a splash at least.
I'll tell you at 6:45.
All right, mate, good luck the rest of the way. Cheers.
Didn't want to get painted into a corner there.
That's a good answer.
We saw Christensen and Capello just work that fuel at Mid-Ohio quite the day. Let's bring on Beekes back in. We'll We'll get back to Jan in just a moment as the safety car from Cadillac stays out at the head of the pack. It's jumbled now, of course. There goes Herbert in the 38, and he will be the restart leader. That picked him up in front of Peter Cox in the ProDrive Ferrari. As we take a ride in one of the Porsches. Tomorrow, 5:30 Eastern, the Trans Am Championship. A couple of races to go next week at Road Atlanta, and the season finale at the end of October to settle the title. Butch Leitzinger was penalized a lot of points a couple of weeks back. He got most of them back in a late decision by Trans Am officials. So points battle between Boris Said, Butch, and Paul Gentilozzi is very tight, and we'll bring the coverage tomorrow from Miami, 5:30 Eastern. Back to Jan Beekes.
Jan Magnussen climbed out of his car. Now, you quickly went over to your engineers. You had something important you wanted to tell them. What's the car doing?
Car's not very nice. I don't think it is for anybody. Actually, we were doing the same times as in qualifying, but just not. I couldn't repeat them. I dropped a little bit. I've had some contact with the walls. It's a shame, but whether it's hurt the actual balance of the car, I'm not sure. But it's not nice. It's the worst circuit I've been to.
Thank you, Jan.
The car is not nice.
Yeah, if somebody that brave said it's not nice, you can bet that thing's a dog.
Magnussen had the 50 car in 4th spot before the caution for car number 21, one of the GT Porsches on the backside of the racetrack. As we take a look from our sky cam, Johnny Herbert in the champion ADT Audi, and Stefan Johansson, the team in that car. The incident happening just before the fountain on the bayside part of the racetrack, the backstretch, if you will. Take a look at the cars in formation. Pit stops complete for those who wanted to stop. Should be set to restart here momentarily. Enos is back on the racetrack. So Herbert is scored at the front of the pack. It certainly gives him an opportunity to gain some points. We'll be back in Miami. Back on Speed Channel from the streets of Miami, the Cadillac American Le Mans Challenge, the 9th of 10 races of the 2002 season. Being run on a beautiful afternoon for sports car racing at a beautiful venue, full house of fans. This return of really the days of the old Miami Grand Prix. Show you our top 5. Johnny Herbert will start the ADT champion 38 on the pole. He did not stop. Pirro will line up second. Claudia Hurtgen has the lead car in the 675s. The 11 car, she will start 6th. Collard in the Cadillac, Michael Durand. You see the rest of the top 10. Let's show you what's transpired in the first hour of action as we put 48 laps on the board here in Miami. Off the start, single file as the cars took it easy early, but then there was contact between the two Penoses, and Bill Oberlin lost a couple of laps getting refired. Shortly after that, Carlos de Quesada, the two BMWs in the field slapping the wall. Contact between a couple of GTS contenders, Jeff Oldenburg, or rather Marino Franchitti in the 45. Peter Cox in the ProDrive Ferrari, then won in Laguna. The 3 car, Ron Fellows and Johnny O'Connell in one of the factory Corvettes, moving to the lead at GTS. There's contact between the other Corvette, the 4, and the 13, the Archangel car in 675. That car lost its bodywork, you saw. And then Emmanuel Nispetti was headed toward a battle for the lead at GTS, and the Olive Garden Coca-Cola Ferrari spun twice trying to get by Ron Fellows.
He was practicing his victory lane spin.
Rehearsing the donuts well before the check. Let's get Calvin Fish in here. Calvin with Ron Fellows.
Ron, looks like you're having some fun out there. First with Terry and then with the Olive Garden car.
Yeah, we lost a bunch of time in traffic, and anyway, I'm slipping and sliding. I'm sure everybody else is too, but we're just trying to, as you may well know, minimize the mistakes every lap, and that's how it's going.
You said to the engineers when you jumped out of the car that the engine went flat for a moment. Did that clean up?
Yeah, it did. Fortunately, just this straight over here behind us going into 16, it seemed to be fine. And but it did. It just as we went to the caution, we had a misfire, but it seems to be okay.
Okay, when Johnny gets out there, I'm sure it'll be hot, but not as hot as Laguna when he caught on fire, guys.
Great day to be on the water, an even better day to be at the racetrack. We'll be back. Back in Miami live on Speed, Green has just reappeared. There's Johnny Herbert in the 38 car. Did not pit that car. They've stayed out. We move into the second hour of action. He's taken advantage of this build and built a pretty substantial lead.
It's an interesting gamble. The one thing that I do like is it's going to give him a number of laps of clear track. He doesn't have to worry about running up and making risky passes on anybody. He can just simply concentrate on being as clean, as fast as possible.
Watching Herbert, Stefan Johansson shared the 38 car with him. Johnny really taking advantage. Local caution waving. Someone must have spun, or there must be something on the track at the end of the front stretch.
Can't see anything.
Claudia Hurtgen leading at 675 in the 11 car. The Nighthawk car, she is 6th overall. They have run a magnificent race in that car.
And that red Pro Drive Ferrari, they've made their way back up to second place now. Johnny O'Connell is shown as the leader in the number 3 Corvette still. But Peter Cox in the Pro Drive car has done a great job.
Cox is about 50 seconds behind right now, but he's got an opportunity certainly to come up and challenge. Plenty of time to go here this afternoon. This is a 2-hour, 45-minute timed race, standard for American Le Mans Series. The 38-year-old Herbert lives in England. 1 career victory, 1 at Le Mans, 3 wins. Formula 1 career. Really enjoys driving for Dave Mirage in the championship.
Oh, he is such a nice guy. I've been lucky enough to have a couple of airplane flights with him this year. I've got some stories that I'd love to tell the viewers, but we'd be thrown off the air right away. He is just an immensely funny person, a wonderful sense of humor, and just God, what a great driver he is.
We've reached the point of the season, of course. Silly season, as you might think of it in NASCAR or Kart. Drivers starting to think about where they're going to be busy next year. Teams thinking about how many cars they'll run in the American Le Mans Series. The champion group, they're hoping to run 2 cars. We take a look at Cox in the Pro Drive 33. And there is the car running second. Emanuele Piro now driving the number 1. And they are running second overall, being shown 16 seconds behind Herbert. So they've got their work cut out for them, certainly here today. Oh, and there's the 16, Rob Dyson 675 car on pit road, which Leitzinger has gotten in. So they made their pit stop apparently not under caution. It's a second stop, we're told, for the 16. The clock is still waiting there in the front stretch. We've run an hour and 15 minutes. You see top left of your screen. Just under an hour and a half to go. Butch is back out. And apparently the Dyson crew had that car behind the wall to make some repairs. So James Weaver, who had come up from 19 to be running 8th overall and second in the 675s, well, it dropped back a good bit now. 675 leader is still Claudia Hurtgen in the 11, the Nighthawk car. Michael Durand has taken over the Banana Joe's 37, and he is second. The 16 car pretty far down the charts now. Leitzinger back in 28th spot overall. Overall leader, Johnny Herbert, the 675 one of Jeff Bucknam's cars.
And finally, he has to lap a car. Just to show you how good it is to get a clear track, Johnny Herbert's last lap was a 1:07, 1 minute 7 seconds. Anybody else is running a high 1:09. So clear track, that's what it's worth.
That's the 56 car running 30th overall. Jeff Bucknam qualified second in the 675 category. Murray, Willman, and Bucknam. Take a look at our Porsche Digital Pilot, get a sense of what Johnny Herbert's doing behind the wheel and what that race car is capable of.
And you see now the G's down here a lot lower than what we're normally used to seeing. Sometimes you see in the Audi, if the real high-speed tracks, you'll see 2.6, 2.7, 2.8. Here you don't get that much because, again, the grip level is low, and they're very quick corners, just back and forth. They just run around, so nothing close to it. But that acceleration figure on the left, I love watching that.
Perfect situation, right? Opportunity to try to build his lead. Not in traffic at all at the moment.
Yeah, of course, Johnny. And his 675 car has spun.
One of the Team Bucknam cars, it's the 56 with Millman. They have gone around on one of the corners.
And that
Celine just gets by.
Headlight is still on, okay, so looks like it's got battery power. Maybe he's trying to refire and just back it out of the way.
Urban and Kilbeam. Brownings.com team. And Jan Beekes a moment ago, we saw Butch Leitzinger come out from behind the wall in the Dyson car. They've got problems again. What's going on?
Yeah, what they're doing is they're pushing it now because it will not refire on its own. They're pushing it, and of course, if they can get this car to leave the pits, then they get a penalty. They have to come back in and make the car start on its own. He actually got the car to start once on his own. They all jumped and cheered, and then he stalled it. And then they had to push it, so he'll have one more penalty coming.
You can see the sign there, the IMSA penalty box. It's a place drivers don't want to have to visit.
That's one of those things that when you do stall it, when the crew all go, you know that you're going to be buying the beer at night because you got to make it up to all those guys. It's just a lot of good-natured ribbing that takes place after that. They share the frustration as much as the driver does in that.
Herbert's lead over Emanuele Pirro substantial at the moment. Pirro working through, or rather Herbert working through the ADT champion out in that section of track, turns 3 through 6. Was dug up. We showed you at the top of the broadcast how the crews came to work here at the end of the day yesterday, the first day of practice and qualifying. They took up a lot of the asphalt and laid cement down there. We're told that the yellow flag is going to wave now. We'll have a full course caution for the 4th time here this afternoon.
And I would be willing to bet that Mr. Herbert might take this opportunity to dive into the pits.
We'll try to get a sense of what they're planning to do. There's the 37 of Banana Joe's MG Lola. That's because of the pill beam, the car of Jeff Buckman's team. Calvin Fish.
Well, another major player in the 675 class, John Field. You had a great run out there, taking the lead early. You decided to come in. Claudia's still out there, but this class has come alive, John, with Dyson out there now and Claudia in the 11 car.
It's really a great class. Me and James had a great dogfight out there. It was awesome with him, and the cars are getting better and better. I think the Goodyear is making great strides with the tire. If we can get a little grippier, we're going to have a fight with a few of the front cars. It's great fun.
All right, mate, awesome run today.
Thank you.
So John Field is handed off to Mike Durand in the 37. Durand, a very capable driver in these small bore 675 cars. Watch the 37 car running in 2nd spot in the 675 category and 9th overall in this 4th course caution. Johnny Herbert remains the leader so far. No one has made a move toward pit road.
No, Johnny actually drove by that time. He has continued around for one more lap. There he is behind the pace car.
Lights are still on the Cadillac safety car, but at the moment, according to our scoring monitor, the yellow flag's insignia has been taken down, so I'm not sure whether they're planning to drop the green quickly here or not, or if the 56 is still turned around on the racetrack. Pits are still closed, we're told.
Yeah, and I see the car has been pulled out of the way, so I think they probably will get a green next time.
56 removed, might have even been able to refire.
See, the pace car still has flashing lights on the roof.
Lights still on, indicating not yet ready for a restart. Chris McMurray, Jeff Buckman, and Brian Willman, Kirkland, Washington. Team Buckman, Fairy Tale Brown, his car. That was the car that spun and caused the yellow. Chris Herbert leading the pack through the fountain area, the backstretch, the Bayshore portion of the racetrack here in Miami. Porsche Skycam gives you a sense of how beautiful it is here in the early evening. Sun headed down, but you'd still think it was summertime. You never know it was October. Just walking around. One of the joys, I think, of street circuit racing is you can go and see from so many different vantage points just what the action looks like.
A lot of people staying at hotels just along the side of the street, so you can see them hanging out. Well, look at up on the roof. In fact, is that guy ready to jump?
Gosh. Sure hope not, as we take a look from our vantage point right at the head of the front straightaway. Safety car dives, stays rather out, and Herbert comes to pit road. They've just opened pit lane, so Herbert and the champion ADT car will come to a stop, and Jan Beekes is there.
Of course, there will be a driver change. This is the only time the champion car will be on pit road. And of course, this works great for their strategy because we know the factory cars got the pit under yellow. Now they have the opportunity to also pit under yellow, but it's in their fuel window. That is why they did not stop the first time. It was not in the one-stop window. Now they'll have enough fuel to go the distance, and while they're at it, they're going to go ahead and put 4 new Michelins on this car. So far going routine, in fact, a little bit slower than you would like on the tire change, but unfortunately, there's a Celine right in front of him at the moment. There's not going to be much room for him to leave. They're going to have to pull him back. Don't run over that hose. They're very close to the air gun. If he runs over it, he'll get a penalty. Oh, he did. He just clipped. Oh, no! Now he has pulled a whole air hose off. You might be able to hear it in the background. On the way out, it caught one of the air hoses. Unfortunately, there'll be a penalty coming for Herbert.
Oh, gosh, what a costly incident on pit road. Gave up the lead to bring that car onto pit road and get probably its only service of the afternoon, Bill.
Talk about bad luck. I mean, Champion Racing just seemed to have an inordinate amount of bad luck. If the other car hadn't been in front of them at that point, they wouldn't have had to push back, or wouldn't have snagged on and on and on. Unbelievable.
Still under full course caution. I wonder if IMSA officials might give them the benefit of the doubt there because they had to roll the car back to not run into the car pitted right in front of them.
Hard to say.
We'll find out. Fans on their feet watching to see what the decision will be. The champion team, pretty much a home game for the champion squad. They're based in Pompano Beach, not too far from here.
No, it's about 40 miles up the road. I'm sure they have a huge number of fans here. And certainly a lot of the people from the ADT, the sponsor. Now we're going to take another look here, just exactly what happened. Look at the wing. Just grab the hose. Look at the crew ducking. They don't want that thing to... Oh boy, that's really dangerous.
And that is not air in those tanks.
No, you're right. That's nitrogen.
So Johansson gets it off of pit road. Jan is with Johnny Herbert.
And of course, he saw that whole incident leaving pit road. You got the car in the lead, and now this is going to be a blow having caught that air hose.
Well, unfortunately, yes. And it's been our season so far. We never seem to have the luck run our way for whatever damn reason. But the fight's not over yet.
Now, you had to be pretty excited about the timing of the yellow because it looked like your pit strategy was working perfectly.
Well, I think so. You know, we stretched out a nice lead. The pit stop of the yellow flag came out perfect timing. So let's hope we can get it back. You know, for Audi, a champion at ADT, we've got a lot of work to do.
How's the car?
It's handling okay. It's got a normal, too much understeer as normal, but it's not too bad.
Thank you, Johnny.
Okay.
Well, Stefan Johansson back on the racetrack. Johnny Herbert and Johansson have had an interesting season so far. Johnny has the one win under his belt. Johansson has not yet been to victory lane. As we take a look at some of the incidents this team has battled through in the course of the season. Mid-Ohio contact. Johansson ran the car into a gravel trap at Road America. They have been snake bitten for much of the year. And then contact with a factory Audi on the streets of Washington. We'll be back on Speed.
Welcome to Miami. Bienvenido a Miami. Bouncing in the club where the heat is on all night on the beach till the break of dawn. I'm going to Miami. Welcome to Miami.
Green flag back in the air. Plenty of excitement all around Miami, and especially here. The Grand Prix America, the Cadillac America Le Mans Challenge with Bill Adam. I'm Rick Benjamin, and we're back underway on lap 60. Past halfway here today, and the one car, Emanuele Pirro driving, back in the lead after the trouble on pit road for the ADT champion team. CS Porsche GT, and here comes Pirro in the one, lapping by the 43 again.
Look at that car just snaking around too. The tires have just lost all the temperature so quickly.
Tom Christensen now driving the yellow trim car, the number 2, and Christensen is close. Just about half a second back as they move down the backstretch to the fountain area. Porsche Skycam giving us some beautiful pictures. Get a sense of the layout here in Miami. Huge crowd come out today to see the American Le Mans Series 9th race in 10. Race of the 2002 season next Saturday, flag to flag coverage of Team Le Mans, Road Atlanta, Nebraska. Be there. Forward to having you join us here on Speed.
One of the things I've enjoyed so much this year is that both Reinhold Jost and Alex Job have allowed their two drivers, their two cars, to compete against each other. Remember, we watched the Audi have a great battle back at Road America earlier this year. There was a terrific battle, actually contact between the two cars. So I'm sure that Christensen would like to run down Pirro as much as Pirro would like to stay ahead and beat him. It's bragging rights within the team.
A lot of pride at stake in this team. Second overall belongs to the 2 car and Christensen in the yellow trimmed R8. Let's go down to pit road.
Dindo, you watch the screen here, you see a teammate out there, Tom, chasing down Pirro right now, and it seems like you guys are allowed to race one another, which is great for the series. Do you have any team orders, or can you just go for it?
You know, the traffic will be the key of this race. You know, at the beginning, Frank and me, we were very close. I would say we were even. He was quicker in some place, I was quicker in other place. But suddenly, I got a bad traffic. I lost 10 seconds in 2 or 3 laps, and that is what can happen every few laps on this racetrack.
What about fuel? Are you guys going to be able to make it and stretch it all the way?
No, we go to the end easily.
No problem, huh? The Audi is something else, Bill. I can't believe it.
It's amazing. You know, they put those 2-hour tanks in it. They really work, Calvin.
There are the 2 leaders. Pirro in the 1, Christensen in the deuce. 1-2. Christensen Christensen, 35 years old, now lives in Monaco, native of Denmark. 4-time winner at Le Mans. Boy, that is about the most impressive credential a sports car driver could bring to the
Just
table.
absolutely remarkable.
Don't know how he was on giving change from a 20 in his years as a bank clerk, but he's fine behind the wheel of this silver car.
Yeah, and he's closing very quickly on Emanuele Pirro. He's really catching up quite fast and driving hard right now.
Now, about 3.5 seconds further back is the first of the Cadillacs, the 8 car, Max Angelilli and J.J. Leto. As that program winds down, they have this race next week at Petit Le Mans, then those cars go to mothball.
And I'm sure that, you know, they've got to have really mixed feelings about Petit Le Mans because now we're on board here again. Just take a look at some of this speed taking place down here. The Cadillac fellas all admitted that the Miami racetrack is far from a good track for them. There's the Cadillac right there.
Running third.
But going to Road Atlanta, they should be in a much better position. This car was really designed for Le Mans. Very long straights, and it has relatively low downforce, but very, very low drag as well. So on the long straight at Road Atlanta, I think this thing's going to be a rocket ship. The downside, that might be the car's last race, and that'll break my heart. I'm sure it'll break every heart on that team as well. It's a beautiful car, and it just keeps getting better.
A couple of weeks ago, we were at Laguna. We told you how Wayne Taylor, who really inaugurated this program for Cadillac, and Nigel Roebuck designing this car, getting this team built in a lot of ways, trying to resuscitate the program, perhaps with a different manufacturer or a major sponsor. Riding with Angelilli from Italy, age 35, lives now in Monaco, as many of these drivers do, these world-class road racers. Haven't heard yet whether that effort by Taylor might bear some fruit.
Oh, I hope. I really do. This is just such a nice team to keep in this series, and I like to see the development of the car continue as well, because it's becoming a very substantial challenger.
You're talking about the pit strategy of the Audis and just how impressed you were that they could go to the end. That is the same situation for the Cadillac. I just came down, and they do not expect to make another stop on pit road. However, they were not as confident as Dindo. They didn't say no way. They said it will be very close.
Angelilli and Leto doing a nice job. In fact, they didn't qualify particularly well. Theirs was one of the cars that really never got a clean lap during qualifying yesterday. The 8 car started back in 17th spot, so they've gained 14 positions here today. An hour, a little more than an hour to go.
Max Angelilli's car is one of 2 cars in the race today. He and the number 50 car of Brabham and Magnussen, they're both carrying stickers from the 93rd Fighter Squadron down here in Homestead, Florida, the Makos that fly the F-16s. And they're both avid aircraft fans, so somewhere on that car is a very nice sticker just saying thanks to our servicemen.
Well, the Cadillac team, as you mentioned, certainly had an increase in performance here recently, and some of it is down to the addition of David Brown as a race engineer for that team. David's background is in F1. He's worked with the Jordan F1 test team. He's worked with Williams and McLaren over the years, and they really felt that they had the final piece of the jigsaw together in really making this a winning combination. So a lot of frustration in this camp. The program may be going away, Bill.
I'll bet.
Angelilli and Leto have done a great job with the 8 car. They are 3rd overall. Eric Bernard has the team car, the number 7, 6th overall, but it's the Audis at the top of the board in Miami. On the streets of Miami 17 years ago, John Paul Jr. had the pole, and you were sharing that car with him, right?
I was lucky enough to drive that car, but here was a guy who did not have a fun day.
Emerson Fittipaldi had made his return to racing a couple of years before, got into it with one of the IMSA officials, Al Holbert and Derek Bell in the Lowenbrow 962, the winners that day, and they were able to spray the champagne here in Victory Lane.
That was always one of my favorite cars, that Lowenbrow Porsche. What a pretty paint job, and Al Holbert kept it flawless.
One of the signature cars of the Campbell GT era. Meantime, these are the signature cars of the American Le Mans Series era, the Audi R8s. And talking about next year and plans for next year, no one will say yet what the Audi team is going to do. Will they be back? Will Team Yost move on? Campaign perhaps depends.
That's the rumor that's most popular, is that there will be a thrust towards Bentley in Europe. But as far as Bentley coming over here, I don't know. Haven't heard any good ones. We can start some rumors.
Sure. Taking the 2 Audis, Pirro, Christensen there, the yellow trim number 2, running 1 and 2 here on the streets of Miami. Still a lot of time to go. We've run 68 laps. And we told you earlier, we showed you the incident on pit road where Johnny Herbert had brought the champion car onto pit road for the driver change and pit stop during the caution. And when Johansson got in the car and took off, they had an air hose wrapped around the rear wing and cut the air hose. We're told that IMSA officials have decided they're not going to penalize the ADT champion car. So Johansson is in 5th on the lead lap, at least at the moment. That is the decision. Let's take a look at the battle in GT.
Well, hats off to the IMSA officials. I think that is a great idea. Let's not spoil a race. That was just one of those things that they did try really hard to keep the hose out of the way. So good job, officials. I like that.
Running 12th and 13th overall, the two Alex Job McKenna Porsches. York Bergmeister in the 22 is the category leader. Lucas Luhr driving the 23 second. And they bracket the Pro Drive Ferrari. Thomas Enga has gotten in that car, the number 33. He's 14th overall right now. In GTS, the GTS leader, Johnny O'Connell in the Corvette, 9th. Kelly Collins in the team car, the number 4, 11th overall, 2nd in the category. Enga now is 3rd. So the street circuit, Bill, seems to be playing to the strengths of Corvette so far this week.
It sure looks like. I mean, here's Thomas Enga taking a look up the inside. That was smart. Now the Alex Job car just pulled over, let him have that cleanly. Didn't even dabble into the corners. That was good. It does seem to work that way. These Corvettes are so good. We talked before that the attention to detail is so important on race cars. And one of the things that Doug Dean showed me much earlier this year was how they look at so many. All clear behind you. You just heard the radio message, just keeping his drivers advised of what's going on the track. But the attention to detail by Doug Dean and Gary Pratt and the whole crew for the Chevrolet Corvettes, really good. I mean, they take care of driver cooling, they take care of the splitter design in the nose, the air intake, every single piece, and that's what has made this car such a strong winner.
Watching the two top cars right now at GT, the McKenna Zyberon Alex Job racing cars. They've been dominant all year. The points chase those 4 drivers, the two that share both of those cars, plus Kevin Buckler, who's had a storybook year racing out of the Sonoma Valley area of California. Now, Buckler had led earlier today here at GT in his Racers Group blue Porsche, the number 66, but on pit road, he has stopped. Remember that the two Alex Job cars stopped in the first caution, 10 laps in, to make sure all 4 drivers got a shot at running at least 10 laps today for points, because there's a lot at stake for the Job team and their drivers trying to win the ALMS season title. It's not really within reach for Buckler at this point at least of the season, with today and next week at Petit Le Mans to wrap up the year. Buckler took advantage of that, got the lead. When he stopped, it gave the lead back to these cars. In GT, here's what the point situation is coming into today's event. Massa and Luhr 1 point apart. Bernhard and Bergmeister further back. Buckler in the middle of those two, also with 36 points. He demonstrated he's tied with Bernhard for 3rd in GT.
What a battle.
Yeah, it's been a great battle all year. And you heard from Sacha Massa and Lucas Luhr actually earlier saying that they were going to try to split the driving chores right down the middle today and finish the season in a tie for the champion.
And that's another one of these remarkable statistics about these two guys, that so often you get drivers that go together. And I could tell you stories that I've seen in the past where one driver gets out of a car, and to make it more difficult for the other driver, he may deliberately change the brake bias or change something to really throw that driver off so that he looks good and the other driver looks bad. There's a lot of jealousy sometimes develops. These guys, now they want to finish tied in the championship, so it doesn't get any better.
You know, when you watch those two cars, I've seen Alex Job so many times this weekend, and he always says the same thing. Says the only thing I care about is keeping these cars off the walls because we have such a big event next weekend. And when you see your two team cars that close together, Alex Job has got to be one worried individual right now.
I'm sure he is, but he's so good at
overall leader Audi 100 yards behind.
Perfect. Just tell him to just watch his mirror, try and set up and let the
Audi behind.
Let's just listen.
The battle of GT, there's your race leader, Not sure if there might not be a problem with one of the Audi wheels on the 2 car. Staying on pace for now, but we had a camera shot a few moments ago of the 2 car. It looks like there might have been something flapping in the breeze there as you came out. Oh. Contact there with one of the hill beams.
Very light.
77.
That's the kind of thing that years ago might have knocked the piece off a car. How many times this year have we seen the Audis have really serious bumps and just carry on?
Another car involved there with the Audi briefly, the 77, the AB Motorsport car, Jimmy Adams, Joe Blacker, and Orium Sonora from Miami joining that team. Calvin Fish, everything okay with the Audi team?
Well, the ALMS officials have been reporting that actually from the corner workers that they thought there was a problem with the left front on the Audi, the yellow car of Tom Christensen, and the team have reported it's barely, there's a little bit of damage to the left front dive plane. They don't think there's any dangerous situation to Tom in the car, and so they've gone back to the ALMS officials. These guys really work really great together over the course of the weekend. They come up to these guys a lot, they ask a question, pose a problem, and they really work well together in making sure they get the story straight before any penalty is imposed, so everything should be okay for Tom.
Well, Capello and Christensen sharing that two car. Thought I saw something waving in the breeze off that, what would be the right front corner. But all seems well now. Biela continues to lead on the streets of Miami. Our Speed Channel coverage of the American Le Mans Series being brought to you today by Audi. In technology, performance, and design, our goal remains constant. Never follow. With Bill Adam, Jan Vikas, and Calvin Fish, I'm Rick Benjamin taking a look at the harbor here in Miami. Beautiful day for racing, and we've had a pass on the racetrack. Stefan Johansson has moved the champion ADT Audi into fourth spot by David Brabham and the Panos as they came onto the front straight.
Yeah, I think David is fighting that old girl about as hard as he can, but he just couldn't hold Johansson off. And Stefan got a great run coming onto the straight. Really got cleanly by. See David again, like hard on the throttle of Kart. It doesn't want to hook up the rear tires at all. It's so frustrating to go back to Washington where the car was so good. And here it's one of these things. Boy, even Stefan get a little bit of a power slide coming out there.
Hands of getting in the car after that troubled pit stop. Herbert brought the car in while it was in the lead under caution. Take a look at what happened to get Johansson by. He was able to pick Brabham off on the GTS Celine there.
Well, I think David actually just let him by. He was fighting that car so hard that he chose just to stay where he was. He could easily have pulled to the inside because the Celine saw them both coming. But David chose to say, nope, you can just do it. Just take a good run off the corner.
Shane Lewis and Morgan sharing that number 83 car. That's one of the two-car Grand Nash Motorsports entry. 4 Celines here this weekend. First appearance in ALMS action in quite some time. We saw them at Le Mans earlier this summer. Johansson on the gas down the front straightaway at 38. Brabham to the inside of what I believe would be Mimo Scattarello now in the zero car. The Olive Garden Coca-Cola Ferrari and GTS. When Emmanuel Spetti was in the car, he spun it twice as he was challenging for the GTS lead.
And just ahead of these cars here too, that car disappearing right on the corner, that's the Cadillac. That's JJ Leto. That is who Stefan is trying to catch now. This is kind of fun for a driver. You can actually see the targets right ahead of you. You see, okay, I want to try and pass them first. You get by that car, now there's my next goal, and it just keeps you inspired.
Johnny O'Connell, Corvette out of the way. Let Max Angelilli and the 8 car go by. Here comes Johansson at the 38.
Sorry, I said Leto. That is Max, of course, but it's watching. There was no fast driver change.
A little bit of confusion in the scoring. He's working to get scoring back up. And the drivers carry the transponder in their helmets. They plug them into the cars so that the computerized scoring system knows who's in the car at any given time. And when scoring recycled a few minutes ago, it put the original drivers back in all the cars. So we had to do some good calculation and figure out that, yes, all the cars have changed drivers. Everyone on their first stint now.
Just teach me not to read.
You get a sense, too, of how close parts of the track are. You can see cars shooting in a couple of different directions. Here comes Johansson up on the GT leaders, still nose to tail. That's Angelilli in the 8th. Third overall, right in front of these two. Alex Joe, the yellow and white Porsche.
As reliable as race cars could be, the Porsches.
Johansson having trouble getting by. That's one of those situations where, through no fault of their own, the two Porsches kind of holding up a guy who's challenging for position up front. Marcus situation, you have a very tight 16 turns in less than 1.4 miles going. I can't say that I can recall a tighter streak or more corners on a shorter track.
Well, I thought 3 Rivers Quebec used to be a real challenge, but this definitely doesn't. It's so much more work. Cadillac on the inside. Now Johansson is right on the tail of the caddy.
I'd say rush hour traffic jam on the streets of Miami, but it's Saturday, not Friday. And look at this, Johansson right up on the caddy now. This is for position.
And he's got it.
Blows right by him. Angelilli, I think, let him go.
He did. You are correct. That was a very polite move by Max. He saw him coming up, and I think he just wants to kind of soldier on. They said that the weakest part of this caddy, it's not a weak car by any definition, but the weakest part is its ability to put the power down and come strong off the corners. That is one of the strengths of the Audi. It puts the power down so well, it really hooks up fine.
Johansson needs a full course caution to catch back up. Now we've got a long time left. We've got a little under an hour to go in this 9th race of the 10th race American Le Mans Series season. Cadillac American Le Mans Challenge here on the streets of Miami. But Johansson is in position here with the help of a caution to catch the 2 lead cars and perhaps give them a battle. Jan Bikas, J.J. Leto's car, certainly turning in a good effort here today.
Yes, it is. And JJ, for a while there, they had you on the monitor as though you were driving. You got to watch yourself on the monitor. You've lost a spot. Was that being conservative and letting the other car go?
Well, I mean, it seems to be that the Audis are a little bit stronger, but I'm surprised that Max let Stefan go by so easily. Okay, maybe they had a good lap and Max had a bad lap with traffic or something. Yeah, still, we're running both at the moment and the Cadillac is working very well, so we just have to see how it goes. There's still 1 hour to go almost, and it's still a long way. There's so many cars still on the track, and you know, guys are getting more tired and they start to make more mistakes, so we just have to see.
When you talk about getting tired, how tough do you think this race will be in these conditions today physically?
It's getting better now because it's getting a little bit cooler and it's a little bit cloudy, but in the middle of the race when it was really clear sky and sunshine, it was really hot and physically hard.
Okay, we wish you well. Thanks.
Thank you.
Johansson continuing his climb, trying to get up and reach the 2 Audis, the 2 factory cars, Pirro and Christensen, the 1 leading with Pirro, Christensen and the deuce running second, 7 seconds back. Johansson is third. He was about 20 seconds further back at last check. Oh, in trouble for the Archangel 13 car. Ben Devlin and Brett Arsenault teaming in that car today. They've already lost a piece of bodywork. Arsenault trying to get turned around in a very tight part of the racetrack.
Oh, boy.
He is spun there, you can see, and that's part of that track that's got the sealer on it built that everyone has said is very, very slick.
Yeah, it's amazing. You can see the trails of rubber right across there. Look at how they actually leave very dark lines over that sealer. It is so slick. It's really like an ice rink.
So Arsenault back on the gas as the car pointed in the right direction. In the 675s, the lead belongs to Mike Durand, taking over from John Field. The Banana Joe's 37, that's one of the MT Lolas. Chad Block, who took over the 11 car, the Nighthawk car from Claudia Hurtgen, second, about 19 seconds back. Next in 675 would be the 77, the AB Motorsports car. Watching Pirro out in front in car number 1 and leading the 900 prototypes. As we take you high in the sky in the streets of Miami, your category leaders are 1st, 8th, 10th, and 13th. Been an action-packed season in the American Le Mans Series. We hope you're enjoying our coverage from the streets of Miami here today. There's been a few fists raised in the air this weekend, Bill.
Yes, they all feel they're number 1. So.
Our Porsche Skycam, a beautiful look at the city of Miami. Welcome back to our coverage from the Miami Street Circuit, the Cadillac American Le Mans Challenge, the ninth of 10 races that make up the 2002 season. It's been an action-packed first hour and 45 minutes. Manuel Pirro in car number 1 is the overall leader. Christensen, his teammate in the 2 car. Johansson has taken the champion ADT Audi back to 3rd. Angelilli in the Cadillac. David Brabham in the Panos. It's been a good run for Brabham and Magnussen, considering that Jan Magnussen, who I think is a specialist in cars that don't work very well, and he said, car's not good at all, but they're up to 5th.
I've never heard him say that before, so it really must be bad out there.
Bob Dyson, 675 back on the racetrack. Take a look at what happened to 13 when Ben Devlin had gone around twice during our break. Johansson gave him the chrome horn there and turned the 13 around, and that was the 2nd time in consecutive laps Devlin had spun in that very same spot, evidently, all alone the first time. Managed to kind of be in the way of Johansson as they came through that corner. For his trouble, went around a 2nd time.
He was probably concentrating so hard on the 2nd time because he had spun there once before that he didn't even look in his mirrors to see Stefan coming up the inside.
There's Christensen in the yellow trimmed Audi, the number 2, running 2nd overall. wide speculation that this may be one of the last times we see these Audi R8s in the hands of the factory team, the Yost team. But you talk to Christensen and some of the drivers, and they say no, they haven't heard that at all. They're hoping to be back next year.
You know, they play their cards so close to their chest that I don't think Yost will be back in the Audi team next year, but I'll bet you somebody will.
Well, we know the
champion will be for sure. They have confirmed that. Now, whether it'll be 1 or 2 cars, they haven't confirmed, but that would be good to see 2 of them out here.
Absolutely. Talked to Dave Mirage about it, the team owner of the Champion, yesterday, and he said, hey, if someone will break the funding for the second car, we certainly want to run a second car. Wide talk. In fact, we spoke about this earlier in our coverage of the season building. Bobby Rahal, the Kart team owner, wants to come to the ALMS and would like to do it with an Audi effort. Bobby, of course, here this weekend. He's been hard to find, though. We haven't been able to get a word with him, and we'll find out whether those plans have started to gel. But Calvin Fish, Piro in the 1, setting a very rapid pace.
He really is, and when I spoke to Emanuele on Thursday, talking about his season as a whole, and he said we haven't been lucky in the races, but he believes they now have the faster of the 2 cars in that Yost camp. And he said initially I thought it was the new chassis that we got over here after Le Mans. But he said when I crashed the car in Mosport and we switched to another one, we still had the pace at Laguna Seca. So he said, I think it's the makeup of the team. We have a new engineer. Everyone's clicking together. We now feel we are the faster car of the 2 on the Yost team. Now, I just spoke to Dave Mirage from Champion. I said, can that Yost team go the rest of the distance on fuel? He said, I don't see any way they can do that without some more yellow. So Dindo's saying one thing, Champion is saying another, Bill.
Well, you know what? I to go back to that Mid-Ohio race that you talked about where they had that magical almost 2-hour stint. It was just simply unbelievable. They are so good at figuring out the electronics to get maximum fuel efficiency that you just never know. And in this particular, in the Audi camp, all things are not equal. Yeah, Champion is supposed to get everything the factory Yost team gets, but no, they don't. It is different. So they may have programs Champion don't have, and that'll give them better mileage.
Brakes running, I think, fairly cool here on such a tight course, though. Barely over 300 degrees, something like that.
Now let's see down the end of the straight here. Once he gets under max braking, he's going to be getting really good cooling at this point. Here we go. Going to reach maybe 800 degrees, so that's not too bad.
Carbon fiber. Getting 5 and 30. The other Banana Joe's Lola Judd. This is the 900 prototype car that they've run for a couple of seasons now.
How amazing. Look at how quickly that lost temperature. Brakes just cool down so fast.
Your overall leader, now 40 years of age, but you know, that's just a number, I think. Turo, very quick, certainly. Lives in Monaco, 8 career wins, has been part of the Audi team, winning in Le Mans 3 years. Enjoy sushi, as do you?
Well, yes.
You broadened my horizon so much. You introduced me to it here this weekend.
I was proud to see you eat that sushi, Rick. You showed remarkable bravery.
For a steak and potato kind of guy like me, it was definitely different.
That's one of the things that Miami did to me was bring me to love sushi.
Piro just on the button, moving by Johnny O'Connell. Corvette, O'Connell in the 3 leads in GTS. 45 seconds ahead of the other Corvette, the 4, Kevin Collins in the 7. That car suffered a little nose damage before it did earlier, but it certainly hasn't caused them much in the way of problems. Really glad to see Johnny O'Connell up front, my colleague on speed, on Star Mazda coverage, and had a difficult weekend a couple of weeks back in Laguna Seca. The car caught fire shortly after he got in it. Didn't score any points, ran a couple of caution laps, no green laps, so did not score any points in the chase for the driving championship in GTS. It was a very close call. This is not the car that burned, but amazingly, Johnny said they fixed that car in 5 days. I thought it was a write-off.
It did look quite bad, but this team is so good. I've known Gary Pratt for a long time, and he does put together some very good people, and they're capable of doing pretty remarkable things pretty quickly. It was interesting, too, that after that particular race, and the Laguna Seca track was the one that kind of has the hex on the Corvette team. It's like the New York Jets playing the Miami Dolphins. They just whipped them just about every time out. Well, Corvettes again went to Laguna, again had problems, and even the car that ran out of fuel. I sat with Andy Pilgrim on the flight home, and he said the car still had 3.5 gallons of fuel in the tank. It was just a pickup problem.
And that would be a fuel pickup problem. Now we're getting word that the champion team may in fact be penalized for the incident on pit road a little earlier, in which when Johansson was getting in the car, the air hose got wrapped around the rear wing. having trouble. They had to pull the car back to get it out around another car that had pitted immediately in front of it, and we're told that under IMSA rules, they're going to show the 38 black flag and penalize it. That's not the first penalty they've been assessed.
No, it's not. There it is right there.
This is not ACO rules. This in fact would be IMSA rules coming into play here for the ACT champion team. And I'm sure he's told on the radio as well. We can show you just what happened on that pit stop several laps ago as Johansson continues to run on pace. He will be penalized here shortly. Here's what happened. Bill, there's the air hose.
Yeah, right there. And watch it snag on the end of the wing, and then it suddenly gets ripped out. Look, it just gets, pulled off that thing. Violent. It's amazing, too, to me that it didn't do damage to the wing. Yeah. Because that happened. You know the strength of those air hoses, and they're anchored on pretty well. Typical Audi. It looks like everything is fine. Stefan being very careful right there with that viper. Probably wise.
Yeah, I was going to say, good move. He knifes by him with a tight move.
And then he does
to the right there around the fountain. Cadillac. Hanson in third, Angelilli in the in-car fourth. But Angelilli would benefit here when the 38 car comes to pit road to serve the penalty. The inside of the
he's going around again.
Ferrari. Not this time by.
He will get another black flag.
How many laps do they normally get before?
Well, you're allowed a couple of looks, and then if you choose to still not see the flag, they just stop scoring you.
Probabilmente c'è qualche problema, c'ha il terzo duro, c'ha qualcosa del genere, fa fatica a guidare.
He just said with pepperoni and double cheese.
It's getting to be dinner time, 10 after 6 Eastern time.
The Olive Garden delivers, so.
Angelilli and Cadillac, JJ Leto started the car.
Max has had such a good year this year, and I think it has really benefited his driving, being teamed with JJ. Sure. And Leto has got this great, well-deserved reputation, too, for being one of the more outstanding sports car drivers in the world. And I didn't think that Max was up to his caliber. On a number of occasions, Max this year has been faster than JJ, so it's been good. It's kind of spurred him on to a new level.
Fourth overall in the number 8 Cadillac. We'll take back third. Johansson brings the champion. There he started pit road, and here he comes. This will be a trip to the penalty box, we believe, for the 38.
Yeah, do not pass go.
Stop and go penalty being assessed. Johansson, visor up, and the layer in the helmet. Still very humid and quite warm here. Pulls the tear off. You can tell he's not happy about the stop. The IMSA official bringing him to the penalty box. There's the signal to go. Johansson kicks it back to low gear, and off he goes. And that costs him a lot of track position.
Yes, it does. Although, still well over half an hour to go in the race. He just has to put his head down and try to do this all over again. I wonder if David Brabham, who is also not that far behind in the paint, if he might also pass Stefan also.
Showing, according to scoring last time by, that Brabham is still about half a second further back. We'll see. See the red blue paintos in the picture as yet. There he is. That's the number 1.
I think David is passing.
Johansson gave up a lot of track position. Evidently, he went by the scoring strip that's embedded in the racetrack on his way to the penalty box. So scoring someone who doesn't show the distance he gave up with the penalty. Johansson still shown fourth. We'll be back in Miami. If you're just joining us, I'll show you what happened in the second hour. Johnny Herbert was leading, pitted the car under caution to turn it over to Stefan Johansson. Caught the air hose on the rear wing. Gave the lead to Emanuele Pirro in the 1. In GT, the Alex Job cars have ridden to the top, and they are battling closely. Johansson trying to get close to the front of the 38, tagging the 13 car, and Johansson was penalized just a moment ago. Had a stop-and-go penalty from IMSA officials for snagging the air hose. That has now put him a lap down, although he is still 5th overall. 2 class leaders, the overall leader in the 1, Emanuele Pirro, Michael Duran in the Banana Joe's Lola MG, the 37 car, leading in the 675 category. Chad Block is 2nd, right behind him. The 2 cars are 8th and 9th overall in the race. Block taking over from Claudia Hurtgen. Hurtgen had led in the 11th car earlier. Now it's Duran, pairing with John Field, who is the series points leader in the 675 prototypes. They run 8th overall. Duran with about a 2-second lead over Chad Block in the Stettner number 11. GTS belongs to Johnny O'Connell and Ron Fellows. Their team car, Kevin Collins, Andy Pilgrim for 4, the Corvette, the other Corvette, running 10th and 11th overall. They're 1-2 in GTS, and in GT it is the 23. Bill Fortune with Lucas Moore, leading his teammate, Road Burgmeister. And the Olive Garden Ferrari as the number 4 Corvette goes by. Nemo Scattarella. The look at the Porsche Digital Pilot. Show you the lateral G's, the brake he's using there.
Unmistakable sound of the V12 Ferrari.
Next week, when we get to Petit Le Mans Road at the end of that 10-hour or 1,000-kilometer run, former Kart star Max Pappas will join that pair in the Ferrari. And Max, of course, a great IMSA racer in years past. It'll be good to see him back in a sports car.
That will. He is a spectacular driver. And one of the things, too, that the Olive Garden team did a lot of wind tunnel work just before the Laguna Seca race. And they were talking about how much drag they were able to take off the car and increase downforce. They said almost like a 38% change. Just huge. And they are very, very much looking forward to Road Atlanta with that long back straight. They think the Ferrari will really sick there.
In the 675s, here's the battle for the lead. The 37 and the 11 virtually nose to tail. Chad Block in the Stettner Nighthawk number 11. Michael Durand in the Banana Joe's 37 is the leader. Cars running 8th and 9th overall. 96 laps complete. Calvin Fish, this battle in the 675. This has been the best racing really we've seen all day.
Yeah, it's getting really tight out there, Rick, and the reason is that Mike Durand got in that car a little bit sooner than Chad Block, meaning they don't have as much fuel in the car.
Got him. Lead change. Go ahead, Calvin.
And John Field said we're really having to backpedal on the revs to make it to the finish without making another pit stop, so I think that's why they've lost a little bit of their speed in the 37.
And it has shown on the racetrack because Chad Block has just gotten back by Durand. Now remember the 11 led earlier with Claudia Hurtgen. Block has just gotten it back to the lead at 675. Oh, there may be a problem for the 37. 37 appears to be slowing. Durand moving off the racing line. He is visibly slow on the racetrack.
Very strange right there. I mean, I don't know, maybe you can check on that, Calvin, see if he gives a report, but it almost looks like he didn't have any gears coming up the corner there because the Corvette out-accelerated very strongly. The Corvette couldn't believe that he was going to be out-accelerating that car. He didn't know whether to pass him or not.
And the 37 has stopped. It looks like there's some damage. He's hit something evidently, or been hit.
Well, we are going to get a pace car out here one more time.
There's team owner John Field, who had that car in the lead. He fitted in the Nomex underwear there, you see, with the black cap. Durand getting out of the car. I wonder if something might have blown up at the back of the car and built it to knock the body out.
I'm not sure if that is from contact with the wall or if something has blown up.
See any indication of fire or liquid on the track, but there's clearly debris strewn behind the 37. So the awful luck that the Banana Joe's team has had this year just continues. Even though Field is the points leader, they've won a few races. It's either been a win or break situation.
And that's at the fountain.
And that looks like the other Banana Joe's car. That's their 900 prototype for Lola Judd, the number 30. So full course yellow. We've been clean for quite a while. Now a full course caution has come out. Clint Field. That is John's son, who was back in that car. It had broken earlier. They fixed it and sent it back out. And both of the Banana Joe's cars have come to grief. Wow. A little more than half an hour of racing left. We had just finished talking about how Chad Block had made the move inside to take over the leader at 675. Here's the pass again. And I saw a puff of smoke there out of the 37.
He definitely...
There's the contact. He got into the wall. I'm wondering if he cut a tire. We'll try to find out from Mike Durand what might have happened. Perhaps.
It almost looked like something broke and cracked over that.
We saw some smoke out of the back end of the car, and there's Clint Field climbing out of the 30. So both Banana Joe's cars wrecked within moments of one another. Caution again. We'll be back in Miami. 14 years ago on the streets of Miami, Jeff Brabham had the pole in the Nissan. Bryce Cobb in one of the Jaguars.
One of the greatest races I ever saw. Price Cobb held off the Jag, the closest finish in IMSA history.
And a somewhat younger Rob Dyson got to spray the winner's champagne in victory lane. We are under full course caution because of just a horrible turn of events for the Banana Joe's Lola team. Their 675 car with Michael Durant was leading, got passed by Chad Block for the lead. Both those cars coming to grief against the wall. Dion Beekes.
The 50 car is on pit road. David Bradden behind the wheel. And surprisingly, they decided to change tires. Put 4 tires on this car to get some more grip. I would have expected that. Just would have been a quick fuel stop. Tires it up. Leaves the pits without a problem. Let's go to Calvin.
The GT leaders are in here, and it's Lucas Lur behind the wheel of the 23 machine. His 22 teammate was back out. I believe he may have been almost a lap up on him, so he should still retain the lead. There may have been a lead change here in the pit, but the 22 car came in first. This is routine, about 25 seconds of fuel. They're now going to tires. This was a surprise initially. They said fuel only. They're going to the left front. Now they're going to the left rear. One wheel done on each side, of course, and the same routine is being done on the other side of the car. It should all be routine. I'm a little confused if they're on the same lap, Rick. Maybe you can help me out with that.
Well, it looks as though the 23 is being shown on the same lap. They both completed 95 laps, so I think we did see a lead change there on pit road. And, of course, some questions about Sasha Masson and Lucas Lur. Who will drive the most laps and score the most points here today? The battle for the championship between those two drivers is extremely close. A look at our top 10. We'll be right back. Today's Speed Channel coverage of the American Le Mans Series in Miami being brought to you by Cadillac. Bold vehicles, defying convention. Bill, Adam, you live near here. It looks like a postcard when we look out to the water from our vantage point.
It was one of the things that first attracted me. I just found it so beautiful. Keep in mind, I flew down here the very first race in '83, and I left my car parked in Toronto. Snow, ice, 30 below zero, and I land here and I think, why am I living up there?
Good reason to make a move, no doubt about it. Cars of the American Le Mans Series produce a lot of horsepower, but that's not much compared to what some series drivers saw earlier this week. Several ALMS drivers got a rare chance this week. An up-close look at the Homestead Air Reserve Base in South Florida. They got some time in flight simulators, and then they took seats in the cockpits of F-16s from the 93rd Fighter Squadron, the 482nd Fighter Wing, led by Colonel Derek Rydholm. The drivers ended up just a few feet away from these awesome flying machines as they hit full power in South Florida.
It's absolutely unbelievable. To get a chance to get this close to all the F-16s and speak to the pilots. It's pretty neat.
Pretty bunch of amazing guys. I've been lucky enough to get down to that base a few times, and they are my heroes.
Well, they certainly deserve to be. They do a terrific job defending the southern borders of these United States. More from the Miami Street Circuit, live on Speed in just a moment. The intensity of the American Le Mans Series back on the streets of Miami after nearly a decade. It's been an exciting weekend so far, and there is more to come. Less than 25 minutes of racing in GTS. Your pole sitter today, the Conrad Celine, the 26 car. But Calvin Fish, they backpedaled to fifth. What's wrong?
Well, they've had a problem here. We're here with Terry Porsche. We put the car on the pole. Terry, what's been the problem today?
Clutch or the diff. Something with the drive. Power just won't. You can't go full throttle.
It's the lead there, and we saw Ron really accelerate early in the race. Is that what was going on then?
Yeah, I actually felt it in the reconnaissance lap, and it just was progressively getting worse. But oh well.
All right, mate. We'll see you for T. Maybe you can get him there.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Tony Seiler has backed up Borcheller. Team owner Conrad in the seat. The car still lives, and they run fifth in GTS. Coming up on a restart. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the streets of Miami here on Speed, the American Le Mans Series, the Cadillac American Le Mans Challenge, 9th race of a 10th race season. Former champion here, Bill Adam, I'm Rick Benjamin, Calvin Fish and Jan Beekes are on pit road. Less than 20 minutes of racing to go, and the Audi's still out in front. Pirro in the 1 is the overall leader. Christensen in his team car. The yellow trim number 2, the Team Yost car. In second spot, third belongs to Max Angelilli. A good run for the number 8 Cadillac today. Here's the Franz Conrad GTS Celine slowing down. We talked to Terry Borcheller a few moments ago. Well, I sure hope we didn't throw the jinx at him there. Terry talked about how they thought they had a drivetrain problem from the very start today, and they managed to run almost the entire race.
That's really what it looks like right now. He has really come off the pace, so we're going to have to watch the pit lane entrance.
Slow Saline in the complex, Emanuel.
The Audi crew telling their driver Pirro to watch out for the 26 car off the pace. Pirro all alone out in front. He's got a 9-second lead over Christensen right now.
We're driving on eggshells right now. Each time they restart this, the tires have cooled down so much. It's just like you're almost driving in the rain. Lots of wheels down.
Pirro quickly by the Conrad Celine. Front staying way off. Look at Pirro really lean on the gas on just short straightaway.
Instant wheel spin.
Let's take a listen.
Very cautious right there.
You get a sense of the kink in the front straightaway, and then turn 1 and 2, a quick right and left.
Yeah, it's showing an awful lot more brake temperature in that car too. You saw it go up to probably 13 or 1400 degrees.
Out of the portion of the course that was patched overnight with cement. Yesterday during Kart practice, you might have seen Adrian Fernandez clip the wall right there in the corner and knock the corner of the barrier up.
Now, this is kind of fun to watch just while we get a chance. The throttle position, as we're inside this car, you can see how early he goes to a full throttle.
Off and then on completely.
Occasionally, at the end of the straight, what you might see too are little tiny blips on that throttle. The Audi on the downshift program has the little solenoid at the back of the car that actually kicks the throttle up just to match the revs, like heel tone.
He doesn't have to do that with the
He doesn't have to do it. So occasionally you might see that on the throttle. You see like little tiny blips where this wonderful machine does it all for him.
Is this car too automated, Bill? Is there too little left for the driver to do in this car?
You know, it's a very good question, and there's two schools of thought. That I would far rather see a pure manual transmission in car. I think that adds an element of challenge for drivers. I don't like ABS braking. I don't like traction control. I like to see people like Gilles Villeneuve, who was one of the most fun drivers I ever watched. Just this phenomenal car control. And when you get enough add-ons, it takes that away from the driver. He doesn't have to do car control because electronics are doing it for him.
Well, here's a car that you really have to drive. This is the 3 car, the factory Goodwrench Corvette. Johnny O'Connell taking over from points leader Ron Fellows. They are 9th overall, the leaders of GTS over their team Corvette, the number 4 by a lap. Johnny O, Lowry, Brandon Jordan doing a nice job since he took over. Really didn't get a chance to drive. We'll do that a couple of weeks ago because right after he climbed in, the car caught fire. After some contact, apparently pushed some of the bodywork down on the headers, and some fuel ended up spraying on the headers, what Johnny was telling us yesterday.
Quite frankly, this is a car line too, along with so many of the lines of General Motors that are getting so much better so quickly. I had a chance to drive one of the C5 Corvettes a few weeks ago. A car with over 400 horsepower, yet the highway over 29 miles to the gallon. I just don't know how to use it. Yeah.
This is the car that has won 2 straight GTS victories of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Very same race car.
It's going through the gearbox in a hurry. 4th, 3rd, 2nd.
I see him.
Speed strip at the top of the screen, our overall running order. Take a look at the 675 category leader. It's the Nighthawk car with smoke showing out of the back of that car. Not a good sign.
Don't say it, Rick.
This is still Chad Block at the wheel. Team Knight is not getting down into the race car. We're coming up on 15 minutes to go. 13
That's a good one. They've done something similar to what the Lola did. Remember the old 900 Lola with that Edsel nose on it? Yeah, personally, I think it's maybe the ugliest race car ever designed. This has similar front fenders on it with the air outlets where it just allow that clean flow of air up across the front deck. But the nose itself is so much prettier. That's a good looking car.
From the side, you don't really get a sense, but if you look down at the car, you can see I think the IndyCar influence. The front fenders really almost aren't connected to the rest of the body.
It goes by so quickly, I can't even show it. Yeah, the fenders are almost standing by themselves, like a modern day cycle fender type thing. So much aerodynamic work goes into these cars, both for channeling the air over and under. You spend hours appreciating it.
And in GT, the battle between the Alex Job and Kenna Zyberon Porsches continues. It's Laura in the 23, leading George Bergmeister in the 22 by just a whisker on the racetrack, but the belief is that they are a lap apart right now. They were together on pit road, but what had happened, Calvin Fish, I guess, was the order they came in, and when the leader went by, caused one of the cars to go a lap down.
Well, what happened was the two cars were running 1-2 on the racetrack, but the overall leader of the race was in between them. So when we went yellow, they then became a lap apart. The 23 car went around to the back end of that lead lap, and the 22 car was stuck. So when they came on pit lane, there was a little bit of confusion there who was on the right lap. The 23 car kept the lead. They still have the lead with Lucas Luhr, and I think there'll be a change in position there within their own team. Sasha came in here with a 1-point lead, but Lucas got the bonus point for pole, and he will lead the most laps today. So we'll go to Road Atlanta for Petit, the final race, with a 1-point lead, but the team hopes to be able to make them equal and co-champions by allowing just Sasha to lead the most laps, and maybe not even going for the pole there and getting that bonus point.
Well, what a luxury as a team manager, team owner for Alex Job to be able to say, hey, with our drivers, we're going to orchestrate a tie.
Isn't that? And look at how competitive these cars are. I mean, they're hanging right on the tail of the number 3 Corvette.
That's the 9th overall lead, GTS, the GT leader right behind. So the laps wind down, 111 laps complete. Coming up on 10 minutes of racing remaining on the streets of Miami. We'll be back on Speed. 11 years ago on the streets of Miami. This is the Bud Light Jaguar all alone out front.
Raul Boisel, hometown boy, gets the best win you can possibly ask for. Holds off Tommy Kendall. Tommy made a great charge, but that was as close as he was going to get.
And check your sports car knowledge. That was an Intrepid, I believe, that Kendall was driving.
Chevy Intrepid. Boy, was that a great car.
Back with you live from the streets of Miami with Bill Adam. I'm with Benjamin Calvin Fish. Young Deacon Pit Road Course. It's been an exciting weekend, and it's not over yet. Tomorrow with Kart FedEx Champ Cars and on Speed, Trans Am Championship. 5:30 Eastern Time tomorrow for our coverage of the 10th race of the Trans Am Championship season. There's been a change of position for fourth. David Brabham making a move here on Stefan Johansson to the inside down the front stretch.
That was a real brave, gutsy move by Brabham. He got a pretty good run off the corner, did not allow the Audi to get away. You can see just kind of tucked in there. I don't think Stefan thought he had a chance of passing, but boy, David really dove it down in there.
I think what played into Brabham's favor there was the kink in the front stretch. I think Johansson was trying to block, but found himself on the wrong side of the road.
Quite possibly. In any case, I love watching. You know what? All of these cars are really getting loose at this point, too, so I think Stefan might be willing to accept any position he can get. I've seen that champion ADT car really get loose lately in a couple of sections of track.
Running order, top of the screen here. Audi running order on the speed strip. 8 minutes left of racing here. The story here also, the black Riley and Scott, the Jim Matthews 36. This is Tony Ave at the wheel. His first outing in this car. He's right behind Johansson. They're battling for the 5th spot.
Tony getting some good practice for the Trans Am race.
Memory serves, this is Ave's first run in the 900 prototype.
I think so too.
And I'd say he is one of those drivers who is really unheralded. He is quick in anything he gets into. He's won in Atlantics, he's won in USAC midgets.
You know, I thought he was going to do the same thing as Brabham there, because he probably saw what David did a couple of laps prior, and it looked like he was setting up to try himself.
We're checking scoring here. They all the 2-car headed to pit road. A penalty for Tom Christensen. Flag on the play, a stop and go for Christensen for tagging the 79 at GT Porsche. So Christensen to the penalty box. A stop and go, lays down some rubber and heads out onto the racetrack. Now this has happened before. This team has been in these sorts of situations a couple of different times. And we're going to show you as we head to commercial.
And you know what that does? That puts Cadillac in second place.
That sure does. That sends Max Angelilli in car number 8 to the runner-up spot, 29 seconds back, and Christensen is right with him now. So as the laps wind down, Christensen may not make it to second here today. Let's show you some of these incidents that have happened. Mid-Ohio, Washington, D.C., Road America, among the places where the Audis got into skirmishes. We'll be back. Back live in Miami to take you to the finish here tonight. Car number 8, Max Angelilli running in second spot now. And tonight, 7 o'clock. Minutes from now, 7 Eastern. Dave Despain in our Charlotte studios with Speed News Saturday. Tomorrow night at 7, it's NASCAR edition of Speed News. And at 7 for the Speed News Sunday. Tonight, of course, plenty on the Kart FedEx Champ Cars and the American Le Mans Series. NASCAR and ARCA at Talladega this weekend and a whole lot more. Keep it right here. Speed News comes your way at the top of the hour, 7 o'clock. This is a great run for Cadillac, Bill Adam. We talked about how the program comes to an end 3 years next week. Road Atlanta, Angelilli in line to finish in second spot with 3 minutes to go here in Miami. And a Cadillac sponsored event.
Yeah, Cadillac event, and this is the track they're saying is probably their weakest event too, because the car did not get off the corners nearly as well as the Audi. Look at how well it's performing.
Manuel Piro continues to lead in car number 1, 24 seconds in advance. Who has opened up about 5 seconds on Tom Christensen after that stop and go penalty. So maybe Christensen perhaps has decided to back it down a little bit. Carry out the car here today.
Well, General, I hope you're listening, but you need to keep this Cadillac program going because these cars are great.
Much improved. I mean, the strides they've made with these cars in the last 6 months is really amazing.
You know, I think I'm going to buy one of those Cadillac pickup trucks to tow the boat with, so I think they should take part of the money I spend on that, put it towards the race program, and
that would be the, what, the Escalade EX TST.
Love that. Pretty car.
Race leading on one car.
And that is just too good a program to see finish. Boy, the Audi need a challenge. I mean, and what the Audi are doing, I like very much. I think they're making all of the other teams kind of step up to another level.
Sure.
They have shown a new level of excellence in building this R8.
The one car on its way to leading flag to flag. Audi scored a flag to flag win last time out as well. The second, the R8s continue to be just the dominant cars. There's Christensen, 4 seconds behind the second place Cadillac. Here he comes. A minute 39 to go. There's time for a little more than a lap before the checkered flag. He may be held up by the leading 675 car. That's blocked at the 11, running in overall, leading at 675. And the Nighthawk car. Oh, and he lets the 2 car go by.
Very nice move. Just wave to the inside. Good communication.
This is one of the Grand National leagues in Ecuador here. Chavez, one of the drivers.
That's such a good-looking car that they've been selling.
Probably 2 laps now. Probably 2 laps left.
Going by the clock, I would think it might be white flag time, but I guess not. Next time by will get the white flag. Less than a minute. We'll line up more last after this one. So we will have a bat in our hands, perhaps for second.
And this is probably the lap.
David ist vor einer Runde komplett ausgefallen. So irgendwas sehr verrutscht im Tag über Funke.
Could you translate that for me, please?
I'm sorry. Christensen picks it up here and gets second. This will certainly keep the championship battle wide open going into Team Le Mans.
What better way to do it?
Angelilli running ahead, though. That's the fountain. There's a 675 car. That's the AB Motorsports 77.
And Emanuele just being very careful trying to grab as neat as possible. There's the white flag.
Hero takes the white flag. Last trip around here on the streets of Miami.
Boy, these cars ever look good through these streets. And this light right now, late in the day, and the palm trees all around and the water, just so beautiful.
As difficult as it is to stage one of these street course events, there's nothing like this.
Nothing. No, there really isn't. This is just so, I'm so excited to see these cars back here. I've always loved this. And yes, it is difficult. There's a lot of problems for a street race, but it is worth it.
Christensen in the yellow trimmed Audi, the number 2 running third. 77 next car you see there is second now in the 675 category. The Yankee Motorsports team doing a great job here today. Angelilli a little loose through the 4, 5, and 6 section of the track with the sealers down.
Yeah, look at the shine on it. Yeah, it's hard to believe that's pavement. Looks like somebody has lacquered it.
Walker 675 is the red, white, blue car with the start of the stripes. There's Angelilli, and here comes Christensen. This is for second spot. Oops. Oh, trouble. One of the cars has gotten into difficulty. There's body work out on the racetrack. Last lap, though, so it probably won't be a factor. It might be one of the Vipers. Checkered flag waving over Piro. Piro and Italy, flag to flag here on the streets of Miami.
I'm very proud of my
Hansen going by. He will be fifth of the 38 for second spot. Off the final corner, down the front straightaway, the debris in the way, not a factor. Angelilli in the Cadillac, trying to get there. There's traffic. You can hear Angelilli on the radio. He gets the checkered flag in second spot for Cadillac's best ever finish in the American Le Mans Series. What an accomplishment.
Great job for all the Cadillac guys on that team.
In GTS, Johnny O'Connell in car number 3 for the Good Ranch Corvette team will score another victory. A car that has won 2 straight 24 hours of Le Mans.
This will certainly help make up for some of the disappointment Johnny had at Laguna where they had that fire. So now he can have a good celebration.
Fellows and O'Connell score the GTS win. Chad Block scores the 675 win for the Nighthawk team and his teammate Claudia Hurtgen. And in GT, it looks as though Lucas Luhr for Alex Job Racing will beat his teammate Jörg Bergmeister by a lap. There's Fellows high-fiving his crew as Corvette scores the GTS victory. Piro waves to the fans. We'll talk to the winners when we come back. Today's Speed Channel coverage of the American Le Mans Series in Miami has been brought to you by Cadillac. Bold vehicles, defying convention. Checkered flag has just waved here in the streets of Miami for the first time in many years. The American Le Mans Series in IMSA returning to the ocean front here on a beautiful day for racing. What a great run for the car number 1, the Audi team, Emanuele Piro and Frank Villa. Max Angelilli and J.J. Leto bring the Cadillac home second, best ever finish. The second factory Audi. Then the first Panos, the 50 car, Johansson and Herbert are fourth. Let's go to victory lane. Calvin Fish.
Well, the defending champion in this class has not given up hope yet. Your third win of the year, Emanuele. What a great run today.
I'm really, really happy. We knew we needed a miracle to keep hoping for the championship. But nevertheless, we confirmed that we've been very, very competitive the whole season once more. And this time, thank God, we have not been unlucky and we made it. So, looking on a race by race base, I cannot be more happy than this year. You know, every race was very competitive, but still, you know, you need a little bit of luck.
Is Frankie?
Very, very good job.
Thank you, you too. So I'm happy. We will not be champion, but we can walk away from this season, I think, proud of what we did and very happy and with full hopes to be back next year.
Congratulations, guys. Great run today. Let's get over to Jan Beekers.
And of course, there were great battles in each of the classes today. Lucas, great battle between you and your teammates, but then one car getting a lap down with the leader splitting you.
Yeah, the problem starts earlier. I mean, we had a hell of a fight, you know. And then while overtaking the slower guys, I had a little bit more luck than Jörg did, so I overtook him here on the straightaway. And I said, no, I'm gone. Couple of laps later, it happened the same thing to me. So, and then I got him back and we did a hell of a pit stop. I mean, our crew was really fast, and so I was able to pull away a little bit from Jörg. And because of that, I get the wave by the Spacey car and he doesn't.
Oh, congratulations, it was a great race. Calvin?
We had a great battle today, Jan, in 675 category, and Chad Block. Second win in a row, mate. You guys are really performing well right now.
Yeah, things are really coming together. It really makes up for the beginning of the year when we couldn't seem to put anything together. I mean, the Gremlins were getting us every time. But the guys at Nighthawk have just done an awesome job. Gestetner getting me here, Steve, Claudia, Mel, everybody on the whole team. Claudia did an awesome job today. I mean, I just had to get in again. The car was in one piece, so it was a great weekend.
Tell us about the battle with the 37 car. Looked like Mike slowed down a little, but he actually crashed and hit the fence just shortly after your pass.
Yeah, all I did coming down the front straightaway was was pull out and just do a fake pass. And I think he went too deep, and then I never saw him again until the next lap. And that was a bit of a relief, but at the end there I just tried to back off and pull it all together. So
Great run today. Let's get over to Jan Beekers with the winner in GTS.
With a smiling GTS winner, Johnny O'Connell. Is this redemption after that fire and mishap at Laguna?
You know, I did feel real ripped off at Laguna. I mean, you and I go way back there, all the way back 1986, you and I raced there. And you love the place, I love the place, and I got ripped off that I didn't get to race it last time, so it was good to get the Corvette back out front. I tell you, really all the credit goes to Ron. He did an amazing first stint. You know, anytime you can be almost up a lap on everyone, that's a good thing. You know, I think the strength really of the 3 car is that, you know, from Doug Feehan on down, no mistakes are made. And, you know, Goodyear, you know, they might have taken a little bit of heat for Laguna Band, but they give us a great tire here. And so everyone at Goodyear, thank you. K-Tech, Awesome Motors. And, you know, this car ran and won at Le Mans. She's got a great winning heritage. I don't know whether Ron and I are going to want to go back to Old Smoky, but she's a fast car too. And, you know, to everyone at Pratt & Miller, thanks.
Okay, well, we got to run. Thank you, Johnny. Congratulations.
That car is going to the GM Racing Museum after today's event, so it goes out a winner in its history.
Well,
take a look at the running order as we show you 7 through 12. And GT, Lauren Massa defeat Bergmeister and Bernard. Bill, 1 race to go next week at Petit Le Mans.
It sets up such a great finale because I guess the championship with Audi and the guys did what they want to do. They said they're keep their hopes alive. And then the Cadillac. Well, second this week. Can they do it? Can they get the magical win at Road Atlanta?
1 chance to go for Cadillac, and we'll be there live on Speed Channel, flag-to-flag coverage of Petit Le Mans. We hope you can join us next Saturday. Great day of racing here on the streets of Miami. More to come tomorrow. Coverage of the Trans Am Championship at 5:30 Eastern. Stay tuned. Speed News is next. Dave Despain in our Charlotte studios, ready to bring you up to date on all the motorsports action here and in Talladega and elsewhere around the world. For Bill Adam, Jan Beekers, and Calvin Fish, I'm Rick Benjamin, congratulating our winners, Emanuele Pirro and Frank Vila in the 900 prototypes, Chad Block and his teammates in the 675, Johnny O'Connell and Ron Fellows in GTS, and the Alex Joe team at GT. We'll talk to you next week.